Chapter 445. A saber, a sword, and a shield. The precious weapons of the three sects flickered with a faint light, and there was a faint pressure of the immortal path within them. After Lin Tian's 136 precious weapons broke through the 10,000 divine killing sword, the three elite weapons immediately turned into immortal light and rushed up. Reed clang. The three precious weapons clanged, and their power was extremely strong. The pseudo-immortal weapons of the three sects. Lin Tian had obtained this not long ago in the Sea King's palace. Now, it was put to good use, and its immortal power was extremely oppressive. Li Guhuang stood in the sky and faced them coldly. He waved his hand down. The hand of gods. Boom! Powerful divine power surged. The hand of gods covered the sky and the sun, covering the three pseudo-immortal weapons under it. This was a powerful divine power in the ancient scripture of the Li family. Li Guhuang had used this move when he was in the seclusion of the master apothecary. Now, it appeared again, and its power was stronger than before. Lin Tian raised his head and snorted coldly. He leaped into the air, and without any superfluous movements, he threw a punch upwards. With a simple punch, the hand of gods was instantly shattered. Such a scene made many important figures frown. They were all shocked. First, he killed an immortal with a punch. Now, he shattered the hand of gods with a simple punch. Such a physique was a little too strong. Do you think you're a god? You're standing so high, Lin Tianling said. He leaped into the air and appeared in front of Li Guhuang. With a thought, the pseudo-immortal weapons of the three sects slashed at Li Guhuang again. The saber was above, the sword was below, and the shield was in the middle. Li Guhuang's expression was cold. He still raised the hand of gods. I miscalculated last time and didn't end you directly. This time, you won't be so lucky. I won't give you any chance. I'll cut off your head directly. Boom! The hand of gods fell, and the void shook and rumbled. This power was a little terrifying. If it weren't for the powerful array patterns in the Bai family, the space would have been shattered immediately. Have you completely forgotten about being hunted down by me? Lin Tianling smiled. He stepped on the yin and yang liang and moved. Following behind the three sects' quasi-immortal weapons, he brandished the Nirvana fist and swept down a wave of heavenly fist radiance. Li Guhuang didn't dodge. Once again, the halberd of divine light appeared behind him, shining brightly. The halberd of divine light shot up and then enlarged until it was dozens of feet tall. It was like a giant mountain that stood between heaven and earth. With a swing of the halberd, all the quasi-immortal artifacts of the three sects were swept away. At the same time, the hand of God stirred up a huge wave of wind, smashing Lin Tian's Nirvana fist into pieces. If you don't have an alchemy weapon, what are you? Li Guhuang said coldly. Lin Tian said disdainfully, a loss is a loss. Being hunted down is being hunted down. Only weaklings would find excuses for their own failures. He waved his right hand and used the divination divine technique to summon the nine-spring sword. He then used the incinerating sun's 10th stroke. With a boom, a sea of flames appeared, burning the space and distorting it. Li Guhuang's eyes were cold. Two other halberds of divine light shot out from behind him, making a real sound of weapons. Boom! The confrontation between the two was not only in terms of words, but also in terms of killing methods. The two tyrannical Zhen Yuan shook the space and distorted it like ripples on a calm water surface, spreading out in all directions. So powerful! Some of the big shots exclaimed secretly. This was the interior of the Bai clan, and the void was protected by formation runes. The Bai clan's first ancestor had hired a powerful formation manipulator to engrave them. But now, with the support of such formation runes, the two of them were still able to cause the space to tremble and distort. Such combat strength was simply terrifying, and ordinary immortal-reaching realm experts were far from comparable. Buzz! Lin Tian attacked. His silver fist pierced through the sky, causing the void to cave as it smashed toward Li Guhuang. He stepped on the yin and yang liang, leaving behind afterimages with each step as he rapidly approached. Using his powerful physique that had crossed the heavenly tribulation and bathed in dragon blood to engage in close combat, he was like a barbaric dragon that had been born. The vigorous fluctuations of blood and chi moved everyone. Bang! Li Guhuang's eyes were cold as he threw a punch. The two fists collided, and a transparent air vibration wave spread out in a huge circle. Clang! 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 The sound of weapons rang out. Lin Tian used the weapon control technique, and the quasi-immortal artifacts of the three sects arrived again. Li Guhuang raised his hand and used the hand of God to send the quasi-immortal artifacts of the three sects flying again. Lin Tian didn't care about this at all. He expressionlessly put away the quasi-immortal artifacts of the three sections. Then, he pressed forward step by step. Wisps of electric arcs intertwined on his silver fist, and his aura was threatening. Dong! He threw a simple punch, and it was like beating a sacred drum, causing the void to rumble. Two streaks of lightning shot out from Li Guhuang's eyes as he slapped down with his palm. With a boom, the fist and palm collided, creating a large hurricane. After a fruitless attack, the two of them quickly tangled together and launched a close-range battle of life and death. Every single one of their moves contained extremely terrifying power, causing the space around them to tremble and become unstable. It was as fragile as a piece of paper. If there were no formation patterns to protect the surroundings, this space would not be able to withstand such power. Umph! Lin Tian shook his right hand, still just waving his arms. Simple movements, terrifying attacks. He threw out his right fist like an ancient war god, and a faint blood-red light appeared. That was the power of the dragon blood, and at this moment, a trace of it was squeezed out. That is, the light of the dragon blood appeared, and a trace of terrifying power spread out, causing many important figures to be shocked. Not only these people, but even Lin Tian was slightly surprised. However, in the next moment, he laughed, but his laughter was very cold. This is really an unexpected surprise, he said coldly. As the yin and yang liang spread out, the strength of his iron fist increased by several degrees. He had refined some of the dragon's blood back then. At this moment, there was a trace of the remaining light of the dragon's blood in his flesh, making this punch extremely terrifying. It seemed to be able to shatter mountains and rivers. It directly penetrated the void that was protected by matrix runes. Facing this punch, even someone as strong as Li Guhuang could not help but change his expression slightly, and he channeled his true essence to meet it head-on. Buzz! A shield of divine light materialized in front of Li Guhuang, blocking him. Is it useful? Lin Tianling said. He pressed down with his fist, shattering the divine light shield on the spot, and steadily punched Li Guhuang in the chest. With a bang, Li Guhuang was sent flying and vomited blood on the spot. Huang-er! The Li family patriarch shouted. That's the sun physique, and it's actually at a disadvantage? How is it possible? The ordinary cultivators of the Bai family were all shocked. The Bai family patriarch stared at Lin Tian's figure in the air, and his eyes kept flickering. Lin Tian looked so young now, only 17 or 18 years old, but his combat strength was so powerful that he could compete with the Sun King physique, and at this time, he injured the Sun King physique. Such aptitude shocked him. Li Guhuang, aren't you known as the #1 person of your generation? Why are you so weak? In the sky, Lin Tianling said. However, although he said so, he was very shocked in his heart, and he secretly sighed that Li Guhuang was indeed a little terrifying. One had to know that he had accidentally triggered a trace of residual dragon blood, and because of the light of the dragon blood, his punch just now was very terrifying. Even a third heaven of the immortal realm powerhouse would find it difficult to block it. The most likely possibility was that he would be smashed into pieces by his punch. However, under such a punch, Li Guhuang survived and only suffered some minor injuries. In the distance, some disciples of the Bai family hissed. The Sun physique was so powerful, and he was recognized as the #1 person of his generation in the second heaven. But now he was sent flying by Lin Tian's punch. Someone muttered to himself, his face full of disbelief. Faint flames intertwined in Li Guhuang's chest like a light shield protecting his body, and faint smoke was emitted. When facing Lin Tian's punch just now, he condensed the sun sea of the king's territory into a shield and blocked it in front of his chest. Only then did he manage to neutralize the fatal blow. At this moment, he stared at Lin Tian again, and his eyes became even colder. Light flickered, and a prehistoric pagoda rushed out from behind him. The pagoda was 33 floors high, and there was an exquisite treasure light intertwined. Trayastrimsa Divine Light Pagoda. The elder of the Taishian sacred ground was shocked. At the side, the other big shots were also shocked and in disbelief. They exclaimed, "He can even control this mystical power. His talent is incredible." Someone from the Bai family sighed. The Li family had been passed down since ancient times, and there were three core mystical powers in the family, namely the Divine Spirit Sword Technique, the Divine Light Pagoda of the 33 Heavens, and the Tao Grinding Wheel. Each was more terrifying than the other, and each was harder to cultivate. The Divine Light Pagoda of the 33 Heavens was ranked second, and it was said to be able to suppress everything. Among all the elders of the Li family who had reached the immortal realm, only a limited number of people had successfully cultivated it. But now, Li Guhuang had actually mastered this mystical power with his airborne realm cultivation. Great! The Li family patriarch laughed. Li Guhuang displayed the Divine Light Pagoda of the 33 Heavens, like a god descending to the mortal world. He took a step forward and a powerful aura spread out. Swoosh! An immortal light flew out of the Divine Light Pagoda of the 33 Heavens at a shocking speed and pierced through Lin Tian's shoulder. The attack was so fast that Lin Tian couldn't react in time. He covered his shoulder and retreated, falling down with blood. Swoosh! 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 The Divine Light Pagoda of the 33 Heavens shook, and dense rays of light shot out like divine arrows, completely enveloping Lin Tian. The most terrifying thing was that they were extremely fast, almost to the extent that it was difficult to see with the naked eye. Lin Tian was moved. His right hand shook, and the Tao diagram of the four symbols appeared in the blink of an eye, blocking in front of him. Qi! As soon as the Tao diagram of the four symbols appeared, it directly annihilated the rays of light that flew out of the Divine Light Pagoda of the 33 Heavens. However, in the next moment, his expression changed slightly. He used the Tao diagram of the four symbols to block in front of him, but there were killing rays rushing at him from behind and to the left and right at an astonishing speed. The Divine Light Pagoda of the 33 Heavens is stronger than the Divine Spirit Sword Technique. The killing rays are extremely fast, and the pagoda can suppress all living things. You can only die under the Divine Light Pagoda. There is no way to avoid it. An elder of the Li family said coldly. Lin Tian lowered his head, his eyes cold. You said so? Boom! With a thought, the divining divine technique was activated. The Divine Cry Temple, the barren heaven realm, the place where Heavenly Lord Daoran practiced martial arts, the desolate mountain, the treasure weapon bell, the three-leaf clover sea, all of them appeared one by one. Finally, a divine sea appeared, and a blazing sun rushed out, illuminating all directions. The light emitted was scorching hot, causing the void to distort. P.S. Thank you to Lemon Chi-Chi for your 10,000 support. Thank you, Chi-Chi. Chapter 446. Everyone from the Li clan was shocked, and so were the cultivators from the Bai clan. Lin Tian had displayed the place of enlightenment of Daoran Tianzuan. The primordial mountains, the bell, the sea of three-leaf clovers, and so on. These divine elephants shocked them, but the appearance of the solar ocean and the divine rumble temple shocked them even more. Although they had heard that Lin Tian could display the king's territory and had fought with many cultivators before, when they saw it with their own eyes, they were still shocked, and their faces were full of disbelief. Bastard! The elders of the Li family all had ghastly looks in their eyes. Lin Tian had actually displayed the king's region divine ability of their extreme yang physique. In their eyes, this was an insult to the extreme yang physique, an insult to their leaf family. Buzz! Lin Tianqing stood in the sky. More than 10 divine elephants supported him. Their radiance overflowed into the heavens, protecting him within. He shook the power of the divine elephants and shattered the murderous light of the tower of the Triastria divine light outside his body. Li Guhuang's expression was cold. He stepped forward, and the tower of the Triastria divine light suddenly turned into light, pressing forward with great momentum. These lights were somewhat terrifying. They combined to form the 33 layers of heaven and fell from the sky. The pressure made the void rumble as if it would collapse in the next moment, shocking many people. The tower of the Triastria divine light is indeed terrifying. The elder of the Taishan Holy Land whispered. Boom! On the suspended battlefield, the tower of divine light turned into the 33 layers of heaven and crushed down with endless power. The divine elephants summoned by Lin Tian were pressured and were gradually deformed. Then, some of the divine elephants were shattered. Lin Tian snorted and released his vital essence. A blood-colored crack appeared behind him, and the screams of ghosts could be heard, making people's hair stand on end. Suddenly, a ghost claw reached out from it and went against the sky, directly piercing through the 33 layers of heaven. You want to suppress me with your skills? Stop dreaming. In terms of skills, I have more than you, he said coldly. He grasped a few supreme divine abilities, and he'd even cultivated the martial Dao, formation Dao, and pill Dao. What he'd cultivated and learned far surpassed anyone of his generation. Yi Fuqian stared at Li Guhuang. With a shift of his mind, he controlled the divine elephants of the heavens and tore open the 33 layers of heaven. Then, he used the barren heaven world and the divine roar hall to suppress Li Guhuang, shrouding all the space within. Li Guhuang's eyes were like swords, cold and piercing to the bone as he stared at Lin Tian with indifference. Buzz! Dazzling light flickered, and the torn 33 heavens appeared once again, still hanging high in the sky. With a loud bang, the 33-layered heavens became even more terrifying and mightily pressed down on Lin Tian. The 33 heavens are indestructible and indestructible. They can reappear over and over again, and each time they do, they will become even more powerful. Someone from the Leaf family sneered. The reality was just as the Leaf family elder had said. After that, Lin Tian attacked several times to tear the 33 heavens apart, but each time he tore it apart, the 33 heavens would appear again, and the power it exuded was even more powerful. He had mastered the seal of 4 symbols, but because he'd only cultivated the first layer of the seal of 4 symbols, its sealing power was limited. It could only annihilate the light of ordinary divine abilities. It was difficult to completely seal the secret technique of the 33 heavens holy pagoda. After all, this technique was very powerful, and the person who used this technique was the sun body of the 12 imperial bodies, which was 3 minor realms higher than him. Rumble! The void rumbled and shook. The light of the true ether was like the waves of the sea, each wave higher than the last. Lin Tian was under the 33 heavens, and he shattered the 33 heavens again and again. However, each time, the 33 heavens would instantly reassemble in an instant, increasing the pressure on him. Even so, his expression did not change. He controlled the divine elephants of the heavens and stepped on the yin and yang roar, and pressed toward Li Guhuang. He waved his iron fists, and with a dong, the space shook. He used the divine elephants of the heavens to attack the sun body with his iron fists. For a moment, his whole body flickered with precious light, shining endlessly. Behind Li Guhuang, 3 halberds of divine light rushed into the sky, split into 3 directions, and slashed toward Lin Tian. The 2 of them fought with divine abilities, and their bodies rushed together. The shadows of fist and leg continuously appeared. Boom! 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 The 2 fists collided, and the space shook with a rumble. In the Bai family, many important figures were shocked. Facing the divine light pagoda of the 33 heavens summoned by the sun body of the Leaf family, Lin Tianyi shattered this divine ability time and time again. Then, this divine ability reappeared again and again, and its power increased. He actually resisted violently, which was really frightening. These people stared at Lin Tian, supporting the divine elephants. Although they did not know what kind of great technique it was, they knew that this kind of technique would definitely consume a lot of true ether. However, Lin Tian had been supporting them all this time, holding on until now. His true ether is inexhaustible. This, in a battle with the invincible sun body of the same generation, he actually doesn't fall behind at all. Many of the Bai family's disciples were stunned. Li Guhuang's eyes were cold, and his expression was indifferent. After a few punches, he formed a seal in front of his chest. Boom! With a loud bang, the 33 heavens became even more terrifying. At the highest point of the 33 heavens, a 33 heavens pagoda appeared. It was intertwined with extremely hazy light mist, as if it could suppress everything in the world. He walked over like an elegant god. His hands formed a seal, and the 33 heavens fell straight down. However, the 33 heavens did not disappear. Instead, it became even more violent. As the rays of light spread, an extremely ferocious aura burst out in an instant, shattering the dozen or so divine elephants that Lin Tian supported. Boom! The 33 heavens and the 33 heavens fused together. It was extremely terrifying, and many people's expressions changed. The sun body really has the bearing of an emperor, someone muttered to himself. There was a vast expanse of light in the sky. The 33 layers of the pagoda and the 33 heavens were shrouded in mist. Suddenly, the sound of divine weapons rang out. It was as if there were billions of celestial spirits residing in the 33 layers of the pagoda and above the 33 heavens. With a boom, as Li Guhuang formed a seal in front of his chest, the sky trembled violently. Endless light scattered, and killing intent overflowed. It was as if it wanted to crush everything in the 33 heavens and suppress everything in the 33 heavens. Some third-tier immortal experts were shocked. The Li family's treasured technique had been cultivated to such a level. It was too terrifying. The 33 heavens and the 33 heavens were transformed into the 33 heavens and the 33 heavens. Such an offensive stance moved many immortal experts who had experienced great storms. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. When the 33 levels of heaven and the 33 levels of the pagoda pressed down together, he felt an even stronger pressure. It was as if there was a silver river pressing down on his shoulders, causing the bones all over his body to creak as if they would fall apart at any moment. But even so, his expression didn't change at all. He used the yin-yang puppet. The divine manifestation elephant rose again and attacked Li Guhuang again. Boom! He didn't make any unnecessary movements. He simply waved his fist and attacked with the nirvana fist. The 33 layers of heaven and the 33 layers of pagoda fused into one. The hazy light mist rushed towards him from all directions. The pagoda wanted to suppress him, and the 33 layers of heaven wanted to crush him. The combination of these two terrifying powers caused the space to distort, and from time to time, crackling sounds could be heard. Whoosh! 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 More than 10 beams of treasure light came. They all rushed out of the 33 heavens pagoda at an extremely fast speed. Lin Tian used the barren heaven world to protect himself. At the same time, he used the 4 symbols Tao diagram. It expanded to a radius of 15 meters, covering his entire body. They protected him from the front and back, using it to block the pagoda and the heavens. Then, he used the yin-yang puppet again. Like a swimming dragon, he surrounded the sun physique and threw punch after punch. His fist radiance was formed by the extreme compression of his true origin. It was the nirvana fist that he had cultivated in the past. Of course, at his current level, the nirvana fist was much more terrifying when he unleashed it again. One after another, fist radiance rushed out from his fist, like thick bolts of lightning, crazily bombarding Li Guhuang. Li Guhuang's eyes were indifferent. He stood in place without moving. A treasured mirror rushed out from behind him, breaking apart all the fist aura. It couldn't get close to him. He stood in the void like a divine emperor. The 33 layers of pagoda and the 33 layers of heaven fused together, becoming even more powerful than before, completely enveloping Lin Tianche. Lin Tian kept throwing his fists. He used the divine manifestation art and the four-symbol seal to block the 33 heavens pagoda and 33 heavens. He destroyed them in the air several times. However, this art was very strange. Every time he destroyed this art, it would appear again, and its power would become stronger. Just as the Li family elder said, it couldn't be destroyed. Bang! A ray of dim light came and sent him flying with a bang. Good! The Trastrimsa, Divine Light Pagoda. With your current level, you are far from being able to break it. In the end, you will die of exhaustion. At this level, you actually want to fight with the sun physique of our clan. You overestimate yourself. Everyone from the Li family sneered. In the sky, Li Guhuang's expression was indifferent. His hands continued to form seals. After 3 breaths of time, a buzzing sound could be heard as the 33 layers of the pagoda began to tremble. A door of light opened on each layer of the pagoda, and at the same time, the 33 layers of heaven transformed into a 33-meter-tall giant. The light was hazy as it lifted up the 33 layers of pagoda and pressed down on Lin Tian. Boom! The celestial light was vast and mighty, and the void collapsed with a crack. It was as if a volcano had erupted in this place. The giant dragged the pagoda with its right hand, like an ancient demon god. This is the Trastrimsa Divine Light Pagoda. He has already mastered this art to this level. Even the few people who are at the peak of the connecting immortal realm in our clan have not reached this level. The Li family members were surprised and delighted. At the same time, the other big shots frowned. The sun physique was unfathomable. Li Guhuang stood in the sky. The aura outside his body became several times stronger. He looked at Lin Tian indifferently. It's over. Boom. The giant held the pagoda of 33 heavens pagoda. A light door opened on each pagoda floor. With a boom, it pressed down on Lin Tian. The 33 zhang tall giant had boundless strength and could suppress the heavens. The pagoda was even more terrifying. The doors of light seemed to be connected to the eternal unknown, as if they wanted to crush one's soul. It was a terrifying sight to behold. Lin Tian looked up. Facing this even more terrifying attack, he was not afraid. His expression did not change. You really think you can defeat me? He said coldly. The ultimate form of the Trastrimsa Divine Pagoda can still be reborn infinitely. I used it to kill the Sea Area Demon King, who was at the 4th heaven of the connecting immortal realm. You can't stop it. Everything is destined. Li Guhuang was expressionless. Is that so? In that case, let's see if your technique is capable of killing me. Lin Tian mocked. As his words fell, dense patterns suddenly appeared in the void in all directions with a buzz. They quickly turned into chains of light that intertwined in the surroundings. These chains collided with each other, producing real clinking sounds. They completely surrounded Li Guhuang in the middle, forming a spherical light chain seal. This is an array pattern? A big shot's expression changed. P.S. I'll report my schedule to everyone. I arrived at the Lu Sun Literature Academy on March 1st. I saw many colleagues and was quite happy. I'll be staying at the Lu Sun Literature Academy for about a month. There are many things to do during this period, including advanced studies and various activities. Therefore, there may be situations where I can't update in 2 chapters during this period. Of course, if there is a lack of updates during this period, I'll note it down and make up for it in April. Chapter 447. Staring at the patterns in the void, some of the great figures recognized them as formation patterns, and they were immediately moved. Read C. Book 1. K. A. N. S. H. UCC. He knows how to inscribe formation patterns? Someone exclaimed. Inscribing formation patterns in the air was usually something that only a 6th-rank formation master could do. Of course, some experts who had reached an extremely high level of cultivation would dabble in the art of formations and could also inscribe formations in the air. However, it was obvious that Lin Tian had not reached that level. This made many people feel moved and thought of only one possibility. He's also a formation master? Some experts of the Bai family were surprised. The lineage of formation masters had been passed down for a long time. Some powerful formation masters, even if their cultivation was not very strong, could inscribe some great killing formations that were incomparably terrifying. Lin Tian was now inscribing formation patterns, which undoubtedly surprised many important figures. Some of the ordinary members of the Bai family were even more shocked, and their eyes flickered uncontrollably. Wang! Light flashed, and dense chains of light appeared. With a clatter, they immediately sealed off the surroundings, isolating everything. Li Guwang's eyes narrowed. You did this? What do you think? Lin Tianling was indifferent. The Trayastrimsa Divine Light Pagoda was indeed very difficult to deal with. Not only was the attack speed extremely fast, but it could also appear again and again, making him tired of dealing with it. However, he was very calm from beginning to end and was not in a hurry. He surrounded Li Guhuang and attacked again and again, but in fact, at the same time, he was also inscribing formation patterns. This pattern was called the imprisonment pattern. It was a very simple 6-grade array pattern. However, at this time, he engraved a total of 999 imprisonment patterns, which formed a large ball of light chains. It completely enveloped Li Guhuang and instantly wrapped around his body. Li Guhuang's expression changed, and for the first time, he was moved. As the light chains wrapped around him, he could not move. I've already said that in terms of means, I have more than you, Lin Tianling said. The dense light chains pressed together, and the light rays shone brightly, illuminating everything in the surroundings. Li Guhuang's true essence surged as he tried to break free. Unfortunately, how could it be so easy? In the blink of an eye, 999 divine shackling chains closed in and completely drowned Li Guhuang. 1. Look, Book 1, K, A, N, S, H, U, C, C. Lin Tian turned around. The 4 symbols sealed trembled, and together with the divination divine technique, it slammed into the 33 zhang tall giant and the 33-layer pagoda. With a boom, it shattered into pieces. But at this moment, because Li Guhuang was trapped by the shackles, the flow of true essence was cut off. It didn't gather again and completely dissipated. This destroyed the Triastria divine light pagoda. Someone's heart trembled. This was the second most powerful secret technique of the Li clan, the Trayastrimsa divine light pagoda. In this heaven, the more powerful one was, the more they would know how terrifying this technique was. It was basically impossible to decipher and could be said to be invincible among those of the same level. However, at this moment, Lin Tian, who was 3 levels lower than Li Guhuang, had destroyed this technique, shocking everyone. Damn it! Among them, the faces of the Li clan members were extremely ugly. Lin Tian stood in the sky, staring at Li Guhuang, who was trapped by 999 shackles of shackles. A longbow appeared in his hand, and 5 pure gold arrows were knocked on the bowstring. His eyes were cold, and his 5 fingers stretched out, instantly drawing the bowstring into the shape of a full moon. The true essence in his body continuously gathered on the 5 pure gold arrows. As he continued to compress his energy into the 5 arrows, the 5 arrows emitted a buzzing sound, as though billions of birds were flapping their wings. The ear-piercing sound caused the expressions of many of the Bai clan's disciples in the distance to change. All of them could feel an extremely oppressive and terrifying power. Suddenly, they felt that the 5 golden arrows were several times more terrifying than immortal artifacts. With a swoosh, as the 5 arrows buzzed and vibrated, strands of fire and thunder light intertwined, and suddenly the aura of the 5 arrows became even more terrifying, as if they were connected to the flames of hell, as if they were connected to the thunder of the 9 heavens. Boom! A startled sound was heard. In the distance, the light chain sphere that trapped Li Guhuang shook, and dozens of shackles were broken. Next, more startled sounds were heard, and more than half of the light chain formed by the shackles collapsed in the blink of an eye. Lin Tianling smiled, and his right hand loosened, and the 5 pure gold arrows immediately turned into 5 rays of fire and thunder light, instantly pressing forward. Boom! 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 The startled sounds in front did not stop, and when the 9th startled sound was heard, all the light chains were broken, and Li Guhuang stepped out. However, it was also at this time that the 5 arrows shot by Lin Tian arrived, like 5 furious dragons of fire and thunder. Huang, be careful, the Li clan leader shouted. Too late, Lin Tianling said. He knew that the 999 imprisonment runes would not be able to trap Li Guhuang for long. Hence, after he shattered the Ubijna of the Triastria Divine Light Pagoda, he immediately took out his bow and arrows. Using the principle of the Nirvana Fist, he continuously compressed his chi into 5 arrows. Then he fired the 5 arrows. He had basically calculated when Li Guhuang would break through all the chains of light and walk out. So he shot 5 arrows in advance. Therefore, the moment Li Guhuang rushed out, the 5 arrows were already in front of him, and there was no chance for him to dodge at all. Pooh! 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 Blood splashed out as 5 golden arrows pierced through Li Guhuang's body. Huang-o! The Li clan's patriarch's expression changed, and he couldn't help but cry out. Li Guhuang coughed out blood as 5 pure golden arrows pierced through his body. Within a blink of an eye, the arrows dragged his body and sent him flying hundreds of feet away, showering him with dazzling red blood. After 3 breaths, Li Guhuang's body finally stopped. Blood kept dripping down, and his entire body was instantly dyed red, as if he was a bloody man. Standing in the void, Li Guhuang gasped for breath, and his face was extremely ugly. Looking around, balls of scorching sunlight intertwined on the surface of his body and gathered at the 5 golden arrows that pierced through his body, quickly healing his injured body. Under this type of blazing sunlight, facing these 5 terrifying sure-kill arrows, he managed to survive. Origin of the sun. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. The scorching sunlight was extremely blazing, and it was intertwined with extremely rich fluctuations of life. It was definitely the origin of the light. Lin Tian, Li Guhuang roared and couldn't help but roar. He had the Sun King physique. Ever since he was born, he had been advancing triumphantly and defeating all the experts. Now he was recognized as the #1 expert of his generation, and even some of the older experts were no match for him. He was like the sun god from the primordial era. But now, he was seriously injured by a cultivator who was 3 small realms lower than him. It was the first time he had suffered such a terrifying blow, which made him truly angry. With a boom, the violent true essence vibrated, and the 5 arrows were all forced out. You're on your deathbed. Let's see how long you can struggle. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. He took a step forward and directly punched down. The blazing fist light broke through the heavenly domain and swept across all directions. Grinding immortal Tao, devouring wheel, Li Guhuang roared. A treasure wheel rushed up, and pure yang light intertwined around it. There was a terrifying wave of energy that could crush all things intertwined. This was a great technique, the most powerful secret technique in the Li family's ancient scriptures. Now, Li Guhuang had activated it, and it was as if he had summoned a treasure wheel that could destroy all things. Seeing this technique, some of the elders were moved again. They never thought that Li Guhuang had even mastered the Li family's most powerful secret technique and could activate it to such an extent. In terms of secret techniques and divine abilities, you're far inferior. Lin Tian's words were merciless. He quickly formed a seal with his hands, and balls of green flames rushed out of his body. There were a total of 16 of them, and these green flames condensed together and quickly intertwined into a cauldron. There was the shape of the 8 trigrams on the cauldron, and it was full of fantasy. With a boom, as soon as the cauldron appeared, a wave of energy that was hotter than magma spread out, burning the space until it sizzled. It It's alchemy fire, green alchemy fire. That's the alchemy fire of the fourth realm. Could it be that he also cultivates alchemy? The experts of the Bai family were shocked. The young man in front of them had dabbled in martial arts, array, and alchemy, and his realms were all very high. Lin Tian's eyes were cruel, and his clothes were fluttering. Overturning sacred cauldron, he said coldly. This was a great divine ability of alchemy, recorded in the medicine encyclopedia, and it could only be cultivated by having the alchemy fire of the fourth realm. Not long ago, he became a fifth-grade alchemist and mastered the alchemy fire of the fourth realm, so he could use this great divine ability. This technique was said to be able to refine everything into flames and into formless air. His eyes were cold as he took a step forward and pushed the cauldron down. Kill! Kill! Two cold voices sounded at the same time. The wheel of grinding deity, devouring fire, and the overturning sacred cauldron collided. Both of them shook violently, and various rays of light intertwined in midair. This was a great force, and a terrifying wave of energy spread out. Even though the Bai family was protected by array patterns at this moment, the void was wildly distorted, as if it could be shattered at any time. All the spectators were shocked. The divine abilities clashed, and light mist filled the sky. Not long after, two figures flew out at the same time. Li Guhuang was covered in blood, and his chest rose and fell violently. On the other side, Lin Tian was not much better. The grinding deity, devouring Dao wheel, was very terrifying, and it pierced through his chest, leaving a transparent bloody hole. Half of his body was almost directly crushed. However, compared to Li Guhuang, his current state was undoubtedly much better, because Li Guhuang was first injured by the dragon blood fist, then penetrated by the 5 pure gold arrows that he shot out with all his strength, and now collided with the overturning sacred cauldron. The continuous accumulation of injuries was very serious. You're still going to lose, Lin Tianling said. In fact, his personal combat strength was not as strong as Li Guhuang's. However, he had mastered many great techniques and had an astonishing talent for battle. For example, he had secretly engraved 999 imprisonment runes in the void to trap Li Guhuang. Then, he had accurately calculated the time and surrounded Li Guhuang with 5 pure gold arrows. This was the battle situation he had designed. As for the dragon blood fist at the very beginning, it was undoubtedly a pleasant surprise. This was the power he had accidentally drawn out and almost killed Li Guhuang directly. He took a step forward and closed in on Li Guhuang. You really think you can beat me? There was no such possibility. The next attack will bury you, Li Guhuang said coldly. With a buzzing sound, his whole body flickered with flames, and a huge ancient tree suddenly rushed out from behind him. The ancient tree was very dense, and it was mainly divided into 9 branches. On each branch stood a firebird, which was the golden crow of the primordial era. Chapter 448. The golden crow was said to be a firebird born on the sun. It was the king of birds and could devour all the flames in the world. It had the power to burn everything. Reading a book. 1 K A N Book H. At this time, 9 golden crows appeared. Their 9 pairs of eyes were completely condensed by the power of flames. Their bodies were burning with flames, and they stared coldly at Lin Tian. They looked extremely terrifying. What's this? All the bigwigs were shocked and stared behind Li Guhuang. These bigwigs were all powerful existences in the celestial reaching realm. They had seen ancient birds like the golden crow in ancient books. How could they not be surprised when they saw Li Guhuang activate 9 golden crows? When they looked at the ancient tree that the 9 golden crows had condensed from flames, they were all moved once again. Is that the ancient Fusang tree? It said that the golden crow lives on the branches of the Fusang tree. Then it must be the Fusang tree. 9 golden crows and a Fusang tree. Is this the vision in his sense of perception? Many people were shocked. Lin Tian stopped in his tracks, his eyes cold as he stared behind Li Guhuang. As soon as the ancient Fusang tree and the 9 golden crows appeared, every corner around them was surrounded by strands of blazing flames. The flames were like the splashing waves on the ocean, but they were far more terrifying than the waves on the ocean. He could clearly feel the power to destroy all things. "I'll bury you," Li Guhuang said. As soon as he finished speaking, a shrill bird cry came from behind him. One of the 9 golden crows flew out and rushed toward Lin Tian with flames all over the sky. Suddenly, the space crackled as the golden crow rose into the air. It was like an arrow of holy light condensed from flames, burning everything in its path. "Do you think you're the only one who can create a vision in the sense of perception?" Lin Tianling said. His glabella emitted light, and a lotus sea rushed out from behind him. The black and white lights intertwined perfectly. With a thought, dozens of lotus petals floated out from behind him. In the blink of an eye, they condensed into a lotus sword. It gave off a black and white light as it flew straight at the golden crow. This is another strange phenomenon in the sea of consciousness. The lotus sea, that black and white light, why do I feel the presence of yin and yang? Everyone was shocked. "One? Reading book 1? K. Watson? Look at H. U. See? See, the yin-yang lotus sword took shape and collided with the golden crow. Both of them exploded. In the distance, some of the ordinary disciples of the Bai family were moved. Their eyes flickered and their hearts palpitated, staring at Lin Tian and Li Guhuang. These young members of the Bai clan couldn't help but sigh. These two were really too powerful. They were in the same era as these two people, but the gap between them was as shocking as a chasm. "Is this still human?" Someone smiled bitterly. On the floating island, beside Lin Tian, the lotus sea swayed, and the yin qi and yang qi intertwined. On the opposite side, behind Li Guhuang, the ancient fusang tree was also swaying. Then, with a whoosh, a wisp of flame appeared on the ancient fusang tree. The golden crow that was shattered by Lin Tian just now reappeared. This was a strange phenomenon in the sea of consciousness. As long as there was someone maintaining it, the 9 golden crows and the fusang tree would not disappear. Just like Lin Tian's yin-yang lotus sea. As long as he was not seriously injured or dead, the lotus petals would never disappear and could attack endlessly. "Kill! Kill!" 2 voices sounded, and the 2 rushed at each other. The blazing fire of the sun was burning, and the 9 golden crows suddenly moved at the same time. They let out an astonishing bird cry and drove 9 blazing flames, covering all directions and completely enveloping the surrounding space. Lotus petals rose into the air and transformed into sharp black and white blades, which swept toward the center of the formation in a frenzy. Boom! Violent chi interweaved together like waves, each wave higher than the previous one. That kind of chi was too intimidating. Even some experts of the 5th celestial layer were dumbfounded. This kind of power was very shocking, almost enough to threaten their lives. It made them feel shocked in their hearts, thinking that these 2 were too monstrous. 9 suns burning world. Suddenly, a cold shout sounded. Li Guhuang's body was dazzling, and rays of pure yang light came out of his body. He made a seal with one hand, and the 9 golden crows on the fusang tree became even more shocking. They rushed up at the same time, and with a distance between each other, they circled and danced together. In the blink of an eye, they turned into a blazing sun halo, spraying flames all over the sky. This kind of flame was a bit terrifying. It was even more terrifying than the 4th level green elixir fire that Lin Tian used just now. It was like the essence of the sun, and it made everyone in the Bai family change their expressions. One book 1, K, N, S, H, U, C, C. I'll send you flying. Lin Tianji said these 3 words. His eyes were bright, and with a boom, all the lotuses behind him shattered, turning into countless lotus petals, covering the entire sky and crazily slashing toward the sun body seat. This was the strongest form of the yin-yang lotus sea. He had only used it once in the Sea King's palace, and its power was endless. At that time, his cultivation was not as strong as it was now, and he could not control it well. But now, his cultivation had reached the 4th level of the Zephyr realm. and his strength was much stronger, and he could freely use the ultimate form. Chi, chi, chi. His vital essence vibrated, and crisp sounds kept coming out. The 9 golden crows turned into a flame wheel, scattering the true sun fire all over the sky. The ancient Fusang tree swayed slightly, rippling out layer after layer, all containing endless destructive aura. Looking around, Li Guhuang stood under the ancient Fusang tree, like the sun god emperor who came from the farthest past, full of majesty and dominance. Clang! The clanging of weapons continued. Lin Tianji activated the yin-yang lotus petals all over the sky. Black and white lights surged together, almost turning into a black and white vortex. At this moment, every lotus petal around him was a sharp blade. Although it could not cut through space, it could obliterate everything. Such a huge collision stunned all the experts who were watching. How old were these two people? To think that he was already this strong. Boom! The divine light collided, and a huge explosion sounded and continued. Enough! Sun Si, Golden Crow Nest, merge! A cold voice sounded. Behind Li Guhuang, a blue ocean appeared, and a scorching sun rushed out from it, instantly illuminating everything around. Then, the ancient Fusang tree flew back and descended from the sky, enveloping Li Guhuang and the Sun Si. The 9 golden crows also descended from the sky, flying around Li Guhuang with clusters of flames jumping. Immediately, an unprecedented terrifying wave spread out, directly collapsing a part of space. At this moment, Li Guhuang combined his king's territory mystical ability and the phenomenon in his sea of consciousness, suppressing it outside his body and covering it with the Sun Si, allowing the aura of the two to fuse perfectly. He knew that Lin Tianji could resist the Sun Si, but at this moment, because the Sun Si and the phenomenon in his sea of consciousness had merged, he no longer had to worry about that. "You're the first person to see this technique," he said coldly. "So what? You'll die." Li Guhuang took a step forward and raised his right hand. The phenomenon in his sea of consciousness and the Sun Si merged, producing 9 blazing suns. Each blazing sun seemed to be the sun in the universe, melting space. "You want to kill me in your current state?" Lin Tianling laughed. He stretched out his hands, and the lotus sea swayed and rose with a rumble, turning into a huge lotus wave that pressed towards Li Guhuang. Then, he stepped forward and stepped on the yin-yang ho. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Li Guhuang and summoned a dark green medicinal cauldron from the stone ring. "That's the cauldron for refining medicine? Why did he take that out?" Many disciples of the Bai family were curious, and even some big shots were puzzled as they didn't understand what Lin Tianji was trying to do. However, in the next moment, everyone's expression changed. Lin Tianji used the yin-yang lotus sea to suppress Li Guhuang, used the yin-yang ho to close in, and then flipped the dark green cauldron over. With a boom, a ball of blue flames rushed out. There weren't many blue flames, but they were extremely terrifying, as if they were going to burn everything. The flames were called the dark blue flames, and he found them in the dark gorge at the bottom of the sea. Back then, he refined most of the blue flames, but he secretly absorbed a lot of them into the stone ring and sealed them in the dark green cauldron. The flames were extremely domineering, and ordinary containers wouldn't be able to withstand them. However, the dark green cauldron was left behind by the master apothecary. Although it didn't have any offensive power, the cauldron was extremely sturdy and could withstand a lot of the dark blue flames. Now that he had released the dark blue flames, even the light of the divine ability couldn't block it. Pushed, 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 like ice that had melted. The blue flames covered the 9 suns that Li Guhuang had summoned and ignited them in the blink of an eye. Afterwards, the other blue flames landed in front of him and landed on the Fusang tree outside Li Guhuang's body. After 3 breaths, they burned a hole and landed on Li Guhuang's body. "Ah!" Li Guhuang screamed in pain for the first time, causing many people to tremble. The invincible sun physique actually screamed in pain. Li Guhuang struggled and released all his true essence. The sun sea of the king's territory and the sea of consciousness protected his body together. After exerting all his strength, he finally forced the flames out of his body. However, at this moment, Lin Tianji closed in and used the yin-yang lotus sea to open a path. He then rushed into the sun sea and punched it hard. You bam! The punch landed steadily on Li Guhuang's cheek, bringing out a large amount of blood. Li Guhuang was sent flying, and his hair was disheveled. Lin Tianji's eyes were cold, and he naturally wouldn't give the other party a chance to catch his breath. He displayed the yin-yang puppet and directly pressed forward. He formed a seal with both hands and cast the divine divination technique, which turned into light swords that filled the sky. It was the divine spirit 10,000 kill sword that Li Guhuang had displayed at the beginning. He controlled these light swords with his mind and slashed them in all directions. Push, 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 push sounds could be heard continuously. Li Guhuang screamed in pain as he was almost pierced into a brush. Lin Tianji, Li Guhuang roared. Since he started cultivating, he had always been invincible and had never been humiliated like this. I'm here, Lin Tianling responded coldly. He took a step forward and appeared beside Li Guhuang in an instant. There was a line of blood at the corner of his mouth, and his clothes were also stained red by blood. It was an injury left behind from the battle with Li Guhuang, but this injury was far less serious than Li Guhuang's. His footsteps swayed, and he appeared beside Li Guhuang. He performed the crushing meteorite fist with his right hand, and his punches landed on Li Guhuang's body continuously. Bam! 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 The sound of fists landing on flesh could be heard from time to time, and blood kept falling from the sky. Such a scene caused everyone to be completely stunned. The sun physique? Lost. Someone muttered to himself. Chapter 449. Staring at the battle in the sky, many people were in a daze as if their souls had been sucked out. The invincible great sun physique of the Leaf family, known as the unrivaled young supreme being of the second heaven. Even some of the older generation powerhouses weren't his match. His talent was enough to show disdain for the world. But now, such a powerful existence was actually defeated. Many disciples of the Bai family stared at Lin Tian, their eyes full of shock. They had forgotten that he was a great enemy of their Bai family. Is he a legend? Is he really so strong? If we're talking about monstrous talents, who else could be better than him? Everyone was stunned. Ah! Screams were ear-piercing. In the void, Lin Tian waved his iron fist and landed on Li Guhuang's cheek again. With a bang, Li Guhuang was sent flying, blood splattering everywhere. He's really defeated. The eyes of the Bai family's patriarch flickered as he stared at Lin Tian without blinking. The invincible sun physique was defeated. He was really defeated. He was defeated by a cultivator of the same generation. It could be said to be a crushing defeat. The elders of Taishin's sacred land and Wantong's sacred land were also shocked. They couldn't utter a word. Damn it, how could this be? This is impossible. Bai Hongya's face was very ugly. He couldn't imagine that the sun physique of the Leaf family would be defeated. Everyone's face was full of shock, and without a doubt, the faces of the Leaf family's people were the ugliest. The sun physique of their family, which was the pride of their family, was defeated in front of them. Boom! In the sky, the light of Jin Yuan was still blooming. Lin Tian's attacks landed on Li Guhuang's body one after another. Even though Li Guhuang tried to resist, he could no longer hold on. After being injured several times, his injuries were already too severe. Lin Tian's eyes were cruel. After another punch sent Li Guhuang flying, the aura around his body suddenly changed. I'll end you with her technique, he said coldly. With a bang, a boundless starry sky appeared behind him. It was dark and deep with specks of starlight. Then, in this boundless starry sky, a full moon appeared with a faint moonlight showing a ray of divine light. That is, the Bai family head's expression changed. This was Bai Chio's king's domain, bright moon starry sky. He never thought that Lin Tian would actually display such a king's domain. Although it was not as strong as Bai Chio's king's domain, It completely had the shape and outline of that king's domain. It was magical, and its power was also very terrifying. What technique is this? There are ripples of primordial tying power. Many people were moved. The starry sky stretched out horizontally, and the bright moon hung high in the sky. This part of the sky was suddenly draped in a marvelous scene, and specks of divine light lingered around it. With a thought, Lin Tian's bright moon flew out from behind him and landed on Li Guhuang. This kind of king's territory was very terrifying. Even if he only used the divining divine art to activate its outline, it still blasted Li Guhuang away at the first moment, almost crushing half of his body. His eyes were cold, and killing intent intertwined in his eyes. The starry sky behind him also surged. For a moment, the starry sky and the bright moon shrouded Li Guhuang. Bastard! A furious roar was heard. With a clang, a halberd of divine light rushed up into the sky and attacked Lin Tian. The Li family patriarch made his move and leaped into the sky. Lin Tian's face turned cold, and he instantly moved hundreds of feet away to avoid the attack of the Li family patriarch. The Li family patriarch quickly rose into the sky and stood between Lin Tian and Li Guhuang like a mountain, protecting Li Guhuang behind him with divine light. He stared at Lin Tian, his eyes full of killing intent. The Sun King physique of his lineage had actually been defeated by this 17-year-old youth in front of him. This made his eyes full of coldness. "Old thing, I knew you would jump out in the end," Lin Tianling said. He wasn't surprised at all that the Li family patriarch suddenly rushed out. How could these people watch their Sun King physique get slaughtered by him? He looked at Li Guhuang, who was protected behind the Li family patriarch, with disdain and sarcasm on his face. "The Sun King physique is too weak. You're just living under the protection of the older generation powerhouses. You can't even withstand a single blow. How dare you call yourself the #1 person of your generation? I really feel ashamed for you." His words were cold and merciless. Li Guhuang was covered in blood and looked a little weak, but his eyes were still as sharp as a sword as he stared at Lin Tian. "You think you can kill with your eyes? If you could, your Li family would have been destroyed countless times." Lin Tiandao, Jr., don't be arrogant and talk nonsense. The Li family patriarch stared coldly at Lin Tian and said, "If it weren't for your sinister and despicable schemes, if it weren't for your terrifying flames, what would you have to compete with my son? With your strength, if we fought fair and square, my son could crush you with one finger." Lin Tian laughed, and the sarcasm on his face became even stronger. "Disgusting old thing. You really don't think you've lost enough face?" He glanced at the Li family patriarch, the elders of the Taishan sacred ground and the Wanong sacred ground, and the big shots of the Bai family. His eyes fell on the Li family patriarch again. "I've only been in the cultivation world for a little more than a year. How many years has your Sun King physique been cultivating? Why don't you mention that he's 3 small realms higher than me? Why don't you mention that he's 7 years older than me? If I had 7 more years, I could kill thousands of him with a single breath, and you old guys are nothing. You're not even fit to carry my shoes." His eyes were cold, and his words were sonorous and powerful. Many people's expressions changed again. "He's only cultivated for a little more than a year. How is that possible? Impossible. How can there be such a monster?" Everyone was shocked. Some big shots stared at Lin Tian, and their eyes flickered with horror. There were a few recognized young supreme beings in the second heaven, such as the Taishan sacred ground, the Wantong sacred ground, the desolate demon king physique, the thunder god king physique, and the sun king physique. These people were all powerful, but they had started cultivating for a long time. However, Lin Tian said that he had only cultivated for a little more than a year. In a little more than a year, he went from an ordinary mortal to the 4th heavenly layer of the imperial realm, and defeated the Sun King physique, who was known as the #1 person of the same generation in the second heaven. What a monster! These big shots stared at Lin Tian one by one, trying to see if Lin Tian was lying. However, when they stared at Lin Tian's expression, they were disappointed in the end. From Lin Tian's expression, they could not see the slightest flaw. It was a kind of confident and calm look, proving that Lin Tian was telling the truth. The ancient chaotic physique was not necessarily so powerful. A direct elder of the Bai family murmured. Suddenly, a cold snort sounded. Everyone knows how to talk big. Who do you think you can fool? The Li family patriarch stared at Lin Tian and said coldly, You defeated my son with insidious tricks and killed many members of my Li family. You should pay the price in blood. From Lin Tian's expression, he saw that Lin Tian was telling the truth, and the killing intent in his eyes became even stronger. Before I killed the powerhouses of your Li family didn't make a move against me? You didn't want to kill me before? Lin Tian said disdainfully, Everything is because I chased down your Sun King physique once. You are afraid that your sacred ground will be destroyed by me in the future. So you want to clear the path for this trash. Why bother looking for excuses? His words were very rude, causing many Bai family disciples to suck in a cold breath. The invincible Sun King physique was called trash. Li Guhuang's eyes flashed coldly as he stared at Lin Tian. He had the Sun King physique, but now he was called trash. I said you are trash, but you don't believe me. If you think you are not, come out and fight. I will give you a hand and a leg. Lin Tian stared at Li Guhuang. Li Guhuang's eyes turned cold. He was about to step forward, but he was blocked by the Li family patriarch. Ignore him. Today, he can only be a corpse. The Li family patriarch said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, figures rose into the air. The elders of the Li family all walked into the void and stared at Lin Tian. They were all immortal powerhouses. At this moment, divine power flowed out of their bodies, and they did not hide their killing intent at all. Patriarch of the Bai family, we will kill him with our own hands and find your princess. What do you think? No objections, right? The Li family patriarch looked at the Bai family patriarch. The Bai family patriarch sighed. Because of his little daughter, he did not want to make things too difficult for Lin Tian. But now that things had developed to this point, he could no longer say anything. Because Lin Tian would not retreat from the Bai family, and the Li family had just lost an elder to Lin Tian, and the Sun King physique was almost killed. The Li family would not let this go easily. Of course, I have no objections. This old man will represent my family and suppress this evil thief together. A voice sounded. Bai Hongye stepped forward and stepped into the void. This boy is bad. He has killed many of the Taishan Holy Land's experts and should be killed. Now count the Taishan Holy Land as a part of this. Count in the Wantong Holy Land. The elders of the Taishan Holy Land and Wantong Holy Land ascended into the void one after another, their eyes full of murderous intent. Not to mention that they originally wanted to kill Lin Tian. The combat strength that Lin Tian had shown just now was too terrifying. Whether it was combat talent or secret techniques, it was enough to shock the world. If such a person were to grow up, it would undoubtedly be a disaster for the Taishan Holy Land and Wantong Holy Land. They wanted to nip all of this in the bud. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen immortal-reaching realm experts surrounded Lin Tian. The Li family patriarch glanced coldly at Lin Tian as if he was looking at a corpse, then descended into the void with the Sun King physique. In the sky, a light breeze blew, and a faint fluctuation of divine power spread out. There were 8 elders of the Li family, 1 from the Bai family, 1 from the Taishan Holy Land, and 1 from Wantong Holy Land. There were a total of 11 immortal-reaching realm experts. A mere airborne realm expert dares to break into my ancient family? You're courting death, Bai Hongye said darkly. Brother Bai, there's no need to talk nonsense with this animal. Just kill him, someone from the Li family said. Bai Hongye nodded. That makes sense. The 11 of them stared at Lin Tian, and the divine power ripples around their bodies became even stronger. Their cold killing intent seemed to want to shatter everything. Lin Tian's expression was calm when he was besieged by 11 seniors of the Celestial Passage realm. He was not afraid at all. Did you think that I would come here alone, without any preparation? Prepare? The elder of the Taishan Holy Land sneered. What can you prepare for? What do you think the great clans that have been passed down since ancient times are? Do you think that a little flying cultivator like you can come and go as you please? As an elder of the Taishan Holy Land, this person's inheritance was on par with the ancient aristocratic families. He naturally knew what kind of foundation such a great force had. Even if an ordinary cultivator of the great virtue realm barged in, it would be almost impossible for him to survive, let alone a little cultivator of the flight realm. He really found it funny that Lin Tian said such words at this time. Lin Tian was expressionless, but there was a hint of cruelty on his face. "I hope you can still laugh," he said coldly. As he finished speaking, 2 black water stones floated out and floated to his left and right. His eyes were cold as he said, "Open." As his words fell, the 2 black water stones trembled slightly. Suddenly, the sky shook and the earth shook as if the entire universe was about to collapse. Chapter 450. The wind and clouds changed, and heaven and earth lost their color. Countless complicated patterns appeared in this space, completely enveloping Elder Taishan and the others. The invisible killing intent seemed to make heaven and earth tremble. "Read, this is a killing matrix." He has a killing matrix? And this kind of killing matrix, what is this? How can the killing intent be so strong? The leader of the Bai family changed his expression, as did all the important figures of the Bai family. At the same time, the leader of the Li family was also shocked, and so was the solar body. His face became very gloomy. Boom! The void trembled, and beams of killing light shot out. The sky darkened, and violent hurricanes swept out in all directions. This medium-sized space was completely intertwined with killing intent, and a chill that seemed to come from hell filled all directions. The 11 cultivators were completely enveloped in this killing matrix. Their hearts trembled, and their faces all changed. "What have you done?" The elder of the Taishan Holy Land changed his expression, and cold sweat poured down his face. Lin Tian tilted his head and looked at this person. "Why aren't you laughing?" The elder of the Taishan Holy Land was suddenly speechless, and his face became very ugly. The killing intent around him was really too terrifying. Even though he was a powerful cultivator at the peak of the first tier of the connecting immortal realm, he felt a chill run down his spine. Before, he had mocked Lin Tian's so-called preparation, thinking that Lin Tianyi was just a little cultivator of the flight. But now he was trembling. This kind of preparation really made his heart palpitate. Lin Tian's eyes were cold, and his clothes flapped in the wind. He was in the center of the thousands of killing patterns. Boom! The invisible killing intent intertwined, and the tangible killing light shook as if it was going to destroy the world. It was terrifying. He stared at the elder of the Taishan Holy Land, raised his right hand, and pointed forward. With a boom, dozens of killing light beams shot up like dozens of killing swords and slashed at the elder. He had become a rank 6 array manipulator in the Sea King's palace and had comprehended a trace of the Array Emperor's profundity, the eternal killing array. Before entering this place, he had already prepared a foolproof plan, using the profound water stone to carve 5 killing array platforms. Now that he was surrounded by 11 immortal channeling powerhouses, he was definitely no match for them with his own battle prowess. Therefore, he directly activated the killing formation. 1. Reading book 1. K. Watson. Look at H. U. C. C. Boom. The space trembled and shattered into pieces. More than a dozen killing light pillars fell, approaching from different angles. They instantly arrived in front of Elder Taishan. The elder of the Taishan Holy Land roared furiously. He used the divine abilities of the Taishan Holy Land, and even a powerful magical treasure. Unfortunately, it was useless. In the face of such a murderous beam of light, everything was in vain. His divine abilities and magical treasures were instantly destroyed. With a boom, dozens of killing lights arrived as scheduled. No! Stop! Pooh! A mist of blood splashed out, and under the pressure of a dozen killing lights, the elders of the Taishan Holy Land were cut into pieces. Taishan's elders were dead. He died in an instant. How is that possible? Many disciples of the Bai family trembled in fear. A powerful, immortal channeling powerhouse, an elder of the Taishan Holy Land, was killed in an instant. The expression of the Bai family patriarch and the people of the Bai family also changed. Although they felt the horror of these killing patterns, they did not expect them to be so terrible that they could kill a powerhouse at the peak of the first tier of the immortal channeling realm in an instant. Lin Tian stood in the sky and tilted his head to look at the people of the Li family. The void rumbled, and the Bai family became dark. The eternal killing formation activated, crazily devouring the spirit chi of heaven and earth, turning this place into a terrifying ancient killing field in an instant. At this moment, invisible killing intent surged, as if the world was about to be destroyed. Everything was collapsing, and everything began to disintegrate. The scene was terrifying. Boom! With a boom, thousands of killing lights flashed, as if a group of primeval beasts had awakened. "Let's retreat first," a powerhouse of the Li family said. These people all felt the horror of this killing formation, and they were ready to work together to kill Lin Tian after leaving. But soon, everyone's expression changed. The dense killing pattern surrounded them, and they could not get out at all. "Damn it!" Bai Hongye roared. "Read a book?" "One?" Lin Tian tilted his head and stared at Bai Hongye, his eyes as cold as knives. Facing this gaze, Bai Hongye trembled and shouted fiercely, "What do you want to do?" Lin Tian's eyes were full of killing intent. He raised his right hand, and a total of 56 killing lights crisscrossed, clanging loudly. All 56 killing lights were aimed at Bai Hongye. In an instant, Bai Hongye felt that his soul was trembling. "Young man, stop it! Stop!" The Bai family patriarch shouted. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. "Do you think it's possible?" Once, in the sword tomb, Bai Qiu asked him if he would help her if she refused to listen to the family's arrangements one day. At that time, the girl's expression was not good, and there was sadness in her eyes. He didn't know why, nor did he understand what Bai Qiu's so-called arrangements meant, but he directly gave an affirmative answer. He still remembered that when she received his affirmative answer, the girl suddenly became very happy, and he also remembered that at that time, he took a hurried glance and saw Bai Ziki clenching his fists. At that time, although he was puzzled, he didn't ask much. Until now, all the karma had finally come to light, and he finally understood everything. She has the Lunar King physique, the pride of the second heaven. She should have her own glorious life. But for the prosperity of the family, she was pushed out by her own family to be the mother body to give birth to the chaos physique. How sad was that? Now, he hadn't just come for Bai Ziki's sake. He'd come for the agreement from before as well. Even if he had to turn the Bai clan upside down, he intended to put an end to this matter and make the Bai clan have no intention of controlling Bai Qiu's life any longer. The Bai family patriarch's face was ugly, and he was livid. "I'm giving you a chance. Why are you so stubborn?" Not only does the family have guardian patterns, but there are also killing patterns, flawless Dao soldiers, and a great ancestor. A cultivator in the airborne realm, can't resist. The Bai family patriarch really didn't want to make things difficult for Lin Tian, so he tried to persuade him. However, Lin Tian was not moved at all. Set Bai Ziki free and completely dispel the idea of her marrying the Li family's solar physique, and I will immediately stop. Otherwise, I will cause chaos in the Bai family today. He said coldly, "Young man, you are too rampant. You are just a little cultivator in the airborne realm. Do you really think the Bai family can't deal with you? Do you have to force us to use killing patterns to deal with you?" An elder of the Bai family shouted. "You can give it a try." Lin Tian's expression didn't change. He stared at Bai Hongye, his eyes cold. All 56 killing lights moved, slashing forward. With a bang, a large part of the void directly collapsed. This kind of murderous light was really too shocking. "How presumptuous!" An elder of the Bai family shouted coldly. Several great figures took action together. With a Hong sound, this void trembled fiercely. Other killing patterns appeared, similarly releasing streak after streak of shocking killing light. Although these killing lights were not as terrifying as the killing lights of the eternal killing formation cast by Lin Tian, they were superior in terms of quantity. The dense killing patterns surged like waves, pressing toward the eternal killing formation. With a buzz, the 56 killing lights were obstructed, and their trajectories changed drastically. They were even blocked. Such a scene immediately relieved the 10 immortal realm experts who were covered by the eternal killing formation. The big shot of the Bai family snorted coldly and activated the killing patterns. The few of them stopped. The patriarch of the Bai family sighed. Lin Tian had barged into the Bai family alone for Bai Ziki, Bai Chiu, and his eldest son and youngest daughter. But now, the Bai family was suppressing him with killing patterns. This indeed made him feel uncomfortable. B***starred. I've already said that the Bai family is not a place where an ant like you can barge in. Bai Hongye said coldly. Seeing that the 56 killing lights were blocked, this person relaxed, and endless killing lights appeared in his eyes again. In response, Lin Tianji only had 3 words. You will die. Buzz. Wisps of silver light appeared outside his body. Immediately, the killing patterns of the Bai family suddenly trembled and became chaotic. Then, the power of the eternal killing formation's killing lights recovered and began to strengthen again. What's going on? My clan's killing patterns are trembling. This scene naturally attracted everyone's attention, and they were all shocked. Especially the big shots of the Bai family. All of their expressions changed. They had activated the killing patterns in the Bai family and could feel that the killing patterns had become even more chaotic. Lin Tian stared at Bai Hongye, and the silver light outside his body became even more intense. He was a 6th-rank array manipulator, and now he was using the divine one-soul technique to interfere with the Bai family's killing formation with his powerful soul power. Although the Bai family's ancestor had invited a powerful array manipulator to set up a sky full of killing patterns in the Bai family, the array manipulator back then wasn't very strong. He was almost only a 7th-rank array manipulator. Although the killing patterns carved by such an array manipulator were complete, with his current 6th-rank array manipulator skills, it was enough to interfere with them. After all, he had cultivated the divine one-soul technique, a top ancient scripture for array manipulators, and these killing patterns were not controlled by an array manipulator. With a thought, the 3rd mystic water formation stone appeared. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the murderous light became even more terrifying. Streak after streak, the terrifying scene made everyone tremble. The expressions of the Bai family members changed, and they were all shocked. With a boom, the dense killing lights surged and descended majestically, directly covering Bai Hongye under the killing lights. Stop! Bai Hongye shouted. At the same time, the big shots of the Bai family shouted at Lin Tian to stop. Unfortunately, Lin Tian would not stop. He would not kill anyone else in the Bai family, but this person must die. With a boom, boundless killing light descended, directly covering Bai Hongye. With a puff, a bloody mist exploded, and Bai Hongye was directly crushed, his body and soul destroyed. Evil creature! The big shots of the Bai family were shocked and furious. Lin Tian had killed an immortal ascension expert in the Bai family. Lin Tian was unmoved. His clothes fluttered in the wind as he turned to stare at the Leaf family members. It's your turn. Today, none of you will live. All of you will be buried here, he said coldly. As if in response to his words, with a boom, the eternal killing patterns trembled, and the killing lights surged like an ocean, causing the sky to change color. Even some of the cultivators outside the Bai family felt the terrifying fluctuations and trembled. Chapter 451. This is what a strong murderous aura. What happened in the Bai family. Outside the Bai family, the cultivators' hearts palpitated. 1 Book 1, K, N, S, H, U, C, C. At this moment, looking from outside the Bai family, the sky above the Bai family had changed color. Waves of terrifying murderous aura came from that place, causing the cultivators outside the Bai family to tremble in fear. Boom! Inside the Bai family, the murderous aura was vast and mighty, each stronger than the last. Lin Tian stood in the sky and stared at the 8 people of the Li family. With a thought, the endless murderous aura directly slashed forward. Although he had only carved a corner of the eternal killing array, not even 1/10 of it, this corner of the array was terrifying enough. The peerless murderous aura seemed to have triggered the Tao of heaven and earth, as if it could kill all living things in the universe. Some of the Bai family's big shots at the 5th heaven of the immortal ascension realm trembled in fear. Damn it! The Li family's experts' expressions changed. The 8 of them joined forces and resisted with all their strength. These were 8 immortal ascension realm experts, and among them, there was a powerful existence at the 3rd heaven of the immortal ascension realm. At this moment, the 8 of them attacked together. Immediately, the light of divine abilities soared into the sky. It was definitely a terrifying attack. However, in the next moment, when these divine abilities met the murderous aura of the eternal killing array, they instantly shattered like sparks. Impossible! Someone's expression changed. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. He raised his right hand and pointed at one of them. Boom! The eternal killing array was in operation. Dozens of murderous light pillars soared into the sky, almost piercing into the sky. That kind of terrifying power was as if a supreme heavenly venerable had personally arrived, shocking everyone and making them feel as if they were in hell. An early-stage immortal ascension realm expert from the Li family was drowned by the murderous aura and directly turned into a bloody mist. There were still 7 people trapped in the array, and their expressions changed again. Rush out! We must rush out! Someone shouted. The 7 of them joined forces, and the elder of the Wan Tong's sacred ground also came over. The 8 powerhouses joined forces and propped up a defensive light curtain. Then, the 8 of them connected their divine powers, each supporting a great divine ability, and slashed toward a corner of the killing array. 1. Book 1. K wants to man. S look at H. U. C. C buzz. Lin Tian raised his right hand, and the Tao diagram of the 4 symbols appeared in front of him. He took a step forward, and with a thought, hundreds of killing lights pressed down. Pooh! 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 The 8 of them trembled at the same time and were sent flying, coughing up large mouthfuls of blood. Among these 8 people, the most powerful one was at the 3rd sky of Spirit Connecting Realm. He was very powerful. In terms of real battle power, they were all stronger than Lin Tian. However, at this moment, in the face of the 3 eternal killing array platforms, they appeared a little weak. They could not even withstand a single blow. Boom! A wave of killing light descended from the sky like a sea of light, directly drowning another elder of the Li clan. With a pu sound, without any doubt, this person was blasted apart, body and soul erased. How could he? I can't believe. The disciples of the Bai clan were stunned, and each of them was terrified. 11 spirit-connecting realm powerhouses surrounded him, but 4 of them were killed in the blink of an eye. They stared at Lin Tian. He was a figure of the same generation as them. No, most of them were older than Lin Tian, but he was so terrifying and had such a terrifying technique. Some of the important figures of the Bai family also had ugly expressions. The killing runes in their Bai family were actually distorted and suppressed. It was difficult to cause any substantial damage to Lin Tian. At this moment, their Bai family slaughter runes were like children in front of Lin Tian's slaughter runes. This made them both shocked and angry. Bastard! The Li clan leader was furious. He took a step forward and charged forward. With a buzz, the middle-aged man used a powerful divine ability and slashed forward. He was a powerful existence of the 6th firmament of Spirit Connecting Realm, and his combat strength was naturally very terrifying. At this moment, he used his divine ability to suppress the killing patterns of the eternal killing formation. With a bang, the void trembled. Unfortunately, his divine ability's light fell on the eternal killing formation, but it had no effect at all and was directly repelled. Lin Tianlin glanced at him coldly, his eyes indifferent. With a thought, the eternal killing light was vast and mighty, and once again suppressed a powerhouse of the Li clan. Read a book? 1. CC no. Pooh. The powerhouse of the Li clan screamed in horror and was directly drowned by the killing light, turning into a bloody mist. The Li clan leader was furious. 9 spirit-connecting realm elders of the Li clan came here, and now 4 of them had died in Lin Tian's hands, which was simply humiliating. Moreover, humiliation was not the most important thing. The most important thing was that they had lost 4 immortal-reaching realm experts. Even for the ancient aristocratic families, the death of 4 immortal-reaching realm experts was a great loss. It was an unbearable burden. One should know that the powerful 10 great sects only had 2 immortal-reaching realm experts each. Bastard! The Li clan leader roared angrily. With a buzz, a halberd rushed out of his body, exuding a terrifying immortal light. It was actually a high-grade immortal artifact. The high-grade immortal artifact bloomed with divine light, and it directly suppressed Lin Tian. However, it was still useless. Lin Tian stood at the center of the formation, and with a thought, thousands of killing lights met the halberd, blocking it. Damn it! The Li clan leader roared. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. He activated the eternal triangular killing formation, which could kill a 4th-tier spirit-connecting realm powerhouse and block a peak-stage spirit-connecting realm powerhouse. Although the Li clan leader was very strong, and the eternal killing formation engraved by him could not kill him, it was impossible for the other party to break the formation engraved by him from the outside. His eyes were cold, and with a thought, thousands of killing lights rose together. Chi! 31 black lights fell from the sky, landing on a powerhouse of the Li clan. This was a powerhouse of the 2nd-tier spirit-connecting realm. In the blink of an eye, he was drowned and split into pieces by the killing lights. Come on, he said coldly. He would not show mercy to these people. With a thought, the eternal killing formation engravings trembled violently. Boom! 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 The dense killing lights drowned out, and under the furious gaze of the Li clan leader, they slashed toward the last 4 people of the Li clan. The 4 people of the Li clan roared and tried their best to resist, but they could not resist such a terrifying killing light at all. Ah! Screams rang out. One of them was hit by the killing light, and one of his thighs was directly shattered. Lin Tian stepped on the yin yang ho and rushed past at an unbelievable speed. Dong! He waved his iron fist and landed fiercely on the man's chest, shattering it into pieces. On the other side, dozens of killing lights fell with his thought, and another immortal channeling realm elder of the Li clan was killed. In the blink of an eye, only 2 of the 8 people of the Li clan were left. On the other side, the elder of the Wan Tong sacred ground was still standing. Damn it! The Li clan leader roared angrily and used a high-grade immortal artifact to attack the eternal killing formation. At the same time, several big shots of the Bai clan also moved, suppressing Lin Tian. Now, the people of the Li clan were surrounded by Lin Tian, and the elders of the Wan Tong sacred ground were also inside. This was their Bai clan, and as the elders of the Bai clan, they could not watch these people be killed by Lin Tian. At this moment, they all used their great powers. Boom! In an instant, several terrifying auras surged and pressed towards Lin Tian. Lin Tian's eyes were cold as he activated the Tianyi Soul art to support the eternal killing formation. Suddenly, an even more terrifying killing intent surged. Terrifying killing lights rushed up one after another, slashing the heavens and shattering the earth. The Li clan leader and the people of the Bai clan were sent flying. Ah! Screams rang out. One of the last 2 people of the Li clan was drowned by the killing lights and turned into a bloody mist. Lin Tian tilted his head and stared at the elder of the Wan Tong sacred ground. He did not say anything else, but there was an undisguised killing intent in his eyes. The elder of the Wan Tong sacred ground's expression suddenly changed, and a chill ran down his spine. Stop! I apologize to you, don't kill. Boom! The killing formation boiled, and 108 killing lights came from all directions, instantly drowning the elder of the Wan Tong sacred ground. When the killing lights dispersed, there was only a bit of bloody mist lingering on the spot, indicating that the elder of the Wantong sacred ground was killed. Everyone was dumbfounded. 11 immortal ascension powerhouses had surrounded him, but now, 10 of them were killed in the blink of an eye. 10 people. All of them were immortal ascension powerhouses. Devil, he's a devil, a Bai clan disciple muttered. Staring at Lin Tian's figure in the sky, all the Bai clan disciples turned pale and couldn't help but tremble. Lin Tian stood in the void, his clothes fluttering, his eyes cold. The void trembled and shattered. Dozens of hurricanes rampaged in this space, and the killing light pillars were shocking. He tilted his head and stared at the last person in the killing formation. Clang! With a shift of his mind, the boundless eternal killing light vibrated and pressed down on the Li clan cultivator. As far as the eye could see, the killing lights turned into an ocean, terrifying to the extreme. The last remaining Li clan powerhouse was at the peak of the 3rd stage of the immortal ascension realm. At this moment, his face was full of fear. But soon, when he realized that he could not resist the vast killing lights in front of him, the fear on his face dissipated and turned into a ferocious expression. Beast, I'll take you down with me. Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. With a boom, an incomparably violent energy erupted from the man's body. It was not much weaker than an expert at the peak of the immortal connecting realm. In fact, this violent energy continued to grow stronger, and in the blink of an eye, it had reached a critical point. This is divine power self-detonation. Many people's expressions changed. After a cultivator reached the immortal ascension realm, their body would produce divine power. They could condense the divine power to a point and mix it with the power of flesh and blood. Then they would explode, causing an incomparably terrifying result. Now, the self-detonation of a peak 3rd heaven immortal ascension realm powerhouse was even comparable to the attack of an ordinary great virtue realm powerhouse. Retreat! An important figure of the Bai clan shouted and ordered the Bai clan disciples to retreat. He and the others also retreated. The Li clan master's eyes were blood-red. Although his heart ached when he saw his clan's elder self-detonating to kill the enemy, he pulled Li Guhuang and retreated. Because even if he was a 6th heaven immortal ascension realm powerhouse, facing the self-detonation of a 3rd heaven immortal ascension realm cultivator was very dangerous. If he was enveloped by that destructive force, there would definitely be a great disaster. Bastard, die with this old man. Now, even if you have endless killing lights, it's useless. The Li clan elder roared. At this moment, this person's body suddenly swelled. His divine power was in a mess, and a terrifying destructive aura overflowed. Chapter 452. This 3rd heavenly layer, immortal ascension expert of the Li family self-destructed. His body swelled, and a terrifying energy fluctuation spread out. In the blink of an eye, the destructive chi was even more terrifying than the triple eternal killing formation, causing everyone to be shocked. Die! The elder of the Li family roared, his face ferocious. The killing pattern spread out with Lin Tian as the center, rumbling, but at this moment, they were also affected. A 3rd level immortal self-destructed to kill the enemy. That aura was really terrifying. Ha ha, die! 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 This person laughed like an evil ghost. The Li family leader's face was ugly, and he clenched his fists tightly. For such a little bastard in the airborne realm, my Li family actually lost a group of strong people to kill him. Damn it, letting him die so easily. I'm not satisfied. Not satisfied. The big shots of the Bai family shook their heads and sighed. Why bother? The Bai family leader's expression was slightly gloomy. The Bai family wanted to marry Bai Qiu to the Sun physique, and he also felt guilty. He felt that he had let his daughter down, but the will of the family wasn't completely decided by him. There were some things that he couldn't decide alone. Now, a 3rd level immortal self-destructed to kill Lin Tian. He felt even more guilty and felt that he had let Bai Qiu down. After all, Lin Tian was Bai Qiu's only friend. He's finally going to die. The young disciples of the Bai family clenched their fists. Rumble! The void shook, and the destructive aura surged like waves, terrifying people's souls. This terrifying fluctuation was very powerful. But it wasn't the aura of the eternal killing formation, but the power of the Li family's strong person burning his divine power. "Bastard, die with me," the Li family elder said ferociously. At this moment, the destructive aura on this person's body had risen to the limit, and he would explode in a few breaths. Lin Tian stood in the middle of thousands of killing patterns, staring at the Li family elder. His expression didn't change at all. He raised his right hand, and the four symbols Tao diagram appeared and floated forward, covering the Li family elder. The Li family's elder laughed sinisterly. "What else can you do now? It's useless no matter what you do. You just..." Suddenly, the Li family elder stopped talking, and his expression changed greatly. At this moment, his burning divine power began to extinguish. It was as if a basin of cold water had been poured over his head, causing his destructive aura to weaken instantly. "What did you do?" He couldn't help but roar. Lin Tian was expressionless as he coldly glanced at this person. He had the four-symbol seal. Though he couldn't break Li Guhuang's supreme ability with his current level, it wasn't difficult for him to stop someone from self-destructing. The four symbols Tao diagram buzzed and suppressed the elder's destructive aura. "This is suppressing the self-destruction of a third heaven-reaching immortal expert. How is that possible?" Everyone's expression changed. Originally, everyone thought that Lin Tian was going to die, but the result was like this. The self-destruction of the Li family elder was actually stopped with ease. "Impossible!" Li family's elder roared. No matter what, he couldn't believe this result. His self-destruction was actually stopped. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. With a single thought, 81 beams of killing light shot out. "Bastard, you puff!" Blood splattered. The third heaven-reaching immortal elder of the Li family was instantly smashed into pieces, and his blood dyed the sky. In an instant, everyone was stunned. Everything that happened before was actually under his control. "A big shot of the Bai family muttered. The young disciples of the Bai family were all stunned. They couldn't help but tremble. Everyone felt a chill run down their spines. A powerful third heaven-reaching immortal expert's self-destruction was actually stopped. What kind of terrifying man was this? "Lin Tian, bastard!" An angry roar sounded. The Li family patriarch stared at Lin Tian, his eyes red and full of killing intent. Including him, there were 10 immortal-reaching immortal experts of the Li family who rushed here. But now, 9 of them were killed. 9 of them. All of them in the immortal-reaching immortal realm. They were the elders of the family and the support of the powerful combat strength. But now, all 9 of them were killed in Lin Tian's hands in one day. Li Guhuang's eyes were cold, and his gaze was as sharp as a knife. Lin Tian naturally felt this gaze at the first moment. He stared at Li Guhuang, his eyes even colder. "I'll kill you." As soon as he finished speaking, he descended from the void and took a step toward Li Guhuang. The killing lights intertwined, lingering around his body, moving with his movement, pressing toward Li Guhuang. The Li family patriarch's expression changed. His immortal artifact shook again, facing Lin Tian. He had just seen how terrifying Lin Tian's killing formation was. It could even kill a third heaven-reaching immortal expert. Li Guhuang was now seriously injured and didn't even have 20% of his true essence left. It was impossible for him to block such a terrifying killing formation. Once he was enveloped by it, he would definitely die. With a buzzing sound, the halberd of divine light pressed down from the sky. Lin Tian's gaze was cold. His killing light shook, instantly sending the halberd flying. Endless killing light slashed toward the Li family patriarch. The Li family patriarch resisted with all his might, but with a bang, he was sent flying. "Stop it!" someone shouted. A few important figures of the Bai family walked out. Each of them was extremely powerful and stood in front of him. "Get out of the way!" Lin Tian's eyes were cold. He had to kill Li Guhuang. As long as he killed Li Guhuang, everything would be resolved. Bai Ziki wouldn't have to enter the supreme divine realm anymore, and Bai Chio would be free. She wouldn't have to worry about being forced into marriage by her family anymore. After killing Li Guhuang, he could walk out of the Bai family directly. "You're too presumptuous," an expert of the Bai family shouted. Lin Tian had killed more than 10 Immortal Ascension cultivators in the Bai family, including one of their Immortal Ascension realm elders. How could the Bai family endure this? Their reputation had been greatly tarnished. At this moment, Lin Tian wanted to kill the Sun Body, which made the hearts of these important figures skip a beat. The Sun Body couldn't die. They were still hoping for a chaotic body to appear. "Don't force me to kill you." Lin Tian's eyes were cold. He stared at the important figures of the Bai family in front of him, his eyes full of killing intent. He didn't have a good impression of these people who wanted to force Bai Chio in a marriage to give birth to a chaotic body heir. He took a step forward, and the killing array suddenly shook. The killing intent became more intense. Boom! Terrifying killing light intertwined. He stared at Li Guhuang coldly. Regardless of whether it was for himself or for Bai Chio, he had to kill this person. "Young man, you're too arrogant." A cold voice sounded. 6 figures appeared silently. All of them had white hair and beards, and their auras were even stronger than that of the Leaf family patriarch. 6 Grand Supreme Elders, the disciples of the Bai family exclaimed. These 6 people walked out with extremely thick fluctuations coiled around their bodies, and they were terrifying like living volcanoes. These were the 6 Grand Supreme Elders of the Bai family. They were all at the peak of the Immortal Ascension stage. "Stop," one of them said. Lin Tian glanced at the 6 of them. Without any scruples, he directly approached Li Guhuang. He took a step forward, and the great earth trembled. Dense killing patterns surged like ocean waves, surging forward. He wanted to pull Li Guhuang into the range of the killing array and crush him directly. "You're too arrogant," a Grand Supreme Elder of the Bai family said. This person stepped forward, and a divine shadow appeared behind him. It was the 1,000 illusion divine hands, and he slapped at Lin Tian. "Get lost," Lin Tianling said. He circulated the Heavenly One Soul technique, and the eternal killing array trembled violently. With a bang, the Grand Supreme Elder of the Bai family was sent flying. He was a 6-stage array manipulator. With the triangular eternal killing array covering the surroundings, he could kill a 4th-stage Immortal Ascension stage powerhouse and block the attack of a peak-stage Immortal Ascension stage powerhouse. At this moment, facing the Grand Supreme Elders of the Bai family, he was not afraid at all. He circulated the Heavenly One Soul technique to strengthen the killing array's power and crushed it with a domineering force. This, our Grand Supreme Elder, is at the peak of the Immortal Ascension stage. How could he? Impossible. The Bai family disciples' expressions changed. A peak-stage Immortal Ascension stage powerhouse could not stop Lin Tian's footsteps. The patriarch of the Bai family was also shocked. The Grand Supreme Elder of the Bai family who was pushed back was surprised, but his face soon darkened. Not bad. This killing array is indeed extraordinary. As soon as he finished speaking, the other Grand Supreme Elders of the Bai family immediately pressed forward and blocked in front of him. Boom! The 6 of them did not say anything else. They directly attacked Lin Tian. Lin Tian circulated the Heavenly One Soul technique and attacked with all his might. Instantly, the eternal killing array became even more terrifying. The killing light interweaved, violent and terrifying. Bang! 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 In an instant, 3 of the Bai family's Grand Supreme Elders were directly pushed back. Such a scene caused the crowd to be shocked once again. He was too powerful. 6 peak stage Immortal Ascension stage powerhouses could not stop Lin Tian's footsteps. It was terrifying to the extreme. He's only at the Zephyr realm. Is he the reincarnation of a heavenly god? Someone muttered. The patriarch of the Bai family stared at Lin Tian in a daze. His expression was very ugly. It was a kind of struggle and a kind of guilt. As the father of that pair of siblings, he had forced his younger daughter to marry. After his younger daughter left, he had threatened his older brother's safety to force his younger daughter back. But now, an outsider who had nothing to do with him had come knocking on his door for the sake of his own children. He had faced all the heroes alone, and that cold and fearless gaze had deeply pierced him, as if he had been slapped hard in the face. An outsider could do so much for his children, but as the father, he could not do anything. How ironic. Boom! Lin Tian's eyes were cold. He took a simple step forward, and the entire ground shook. The void cracked. With a buzz, he took out the fourth black water platform. An even more terrifying killing light interweaved, as if it was going to kill everything. In an instant, the 6 supreme elders of the Bai family were all moved, and all of them revealed shocked expressions. "Bring out your foundation," one of them said in a low voice. Another person nodded. The 6 of them worked together and released waves of divine power. In an instant, an extremely terrifying aura rushed out. In the sky above the Bai family, the void shattered, and a treasured furnace rushed out. As soon as it appeared, it emitted a destructive wave, causing many people's souls to tremble. Chapter 453. The cauldron appeared like a divine sun. The terrifying fluctuations distorted the void. It was terrifying to the extreme. Reading, 1K. It wants in books, H. UCC. Lin Tian immediately felt a pressure that threatened to tear his body apart. However, his expression did not change at all. Our clan's strongest Dao soldier. The disciples of the Bai family were pleasantly surprised. At this moment, as soon as the cauldron appeared, the disciples of the Bai family all smiled and relaxed. They admitted that the killing array outside Lin Tian's body was very powerful and terrifying, but no matter what, it couldn't block the strongest foundation of the family. The cauldron appeared and descended from the void, hovering above the heads of the 6 people. This cauldron was called the Dao-cracking cauldron. It was the strongest weapon of the Bai family's ancestor. It was a superior-grade Dao soldier and was very terrifying. The 6 grand elders of the Bai family all looked cold. One of them said, "It's really outstanding. What a pity." With a boom, the Dao-cracking cauldron shook and light shot into the sky. This light hung high in the sky, majestically aiming at Lin Tian. 6 grand elders, wait. Can you not kill him? The Bai family's patriarch suddenly said. Humans were not plants and could not be emotionless. The Bai family's patriarch wasn't a bad person, but he couldn't decide the will of the entire family alone. Lin Tian fought inside the Bai family for Bai Ziki and Bai Qiu. As the father of Bai Ziki and Bai Qiu, he felt ashamed and emotional. Lin Tian came here for the siblings. He didn't want Lin Tian to die here. The disciples of the Bai family were stunned. They stared blankly at their patriarch. They didn't understand why the patriarch would suddenly plead for Lin Tian. One had to know that Lin Tian was their family's biggest enemy. They didn't know how many people he had killed before. Now, he had barged into the family and humiliated the family. Why would the patriarch plead for him? On the other side, the Li family's patriarch looked at the Bai family's patriarch with dissatisfaction. When the Li family came here, 9 elders of the through immortal realm had died at the hands of Lin Tian. His son, who had the sun physique, had almost been killed as well. The Bai family's head suddenly pleaded for Lin Tian at this time, which made him feel very uncomfortable. Lin Tian tilted his head and looked at the Bai family's patriarch. A strange light flashed in his eyes, but he soon calmed down. Zai, what is the meaning of this? A grand elder of the Bai family frowned. The Bai family head, whose name was Bai Zai, moved his lips and said, "He's here for Ziki and Xiu'er after all." We, the Bai clan's grand elders, frowned. They glanced at the Li clan's patriarch, who was unhappy, and said, "You can leave now. You want to see it? Book 1 Ka? Shuk CC, elder. Stand down." The Bai family's grand elder said in a deep voice. Although Bai Zai was the Bai family's patriarch and had a respected status, he was still inferior to the grand elders of his line. In such an ancient family, as long as the great Dao patriarchs did not appear, the grand elders had the absolute right to speak. Of course, These grand elders usually would not interfere with the patriarch's decisions. But now it was no longer normal. This boy must be killed today, one of the Bai family's grand elders said. Now that things had developed to this point, even if it was to give the Leaf family an explanation, they could not let Lin Tian go. With a boom, the Tao-cracking furnace shook, and rays of dim light rushed out. "You bastard, you got lucky." The Leaf family's patriarch snorted coldly and stared at Lin Tian, his eyes full of killing intent. One of the Bai family's grand elders stared at Lin Tian, paused, and said, "Young man, do you have any last wishes? Since you broke into our Bai family for Ziki and Xiaoer, as long as it's reasonable, I will help you fulfill them." The six of them had completely understood the grudge between the Bai family and Lin Tian. They all understood that it was their Bai family's fault in the beginning, and now Lin Tian had broken in here for the two geniuses of their family. All these things made the six of them sigh. However, Lin Tian had killed too many people of the Bai family, and also killed 9 immortal-reaching realm elders of the Li family, as well as an elder of the Taishin Sacred Ground and the Wanong Sacred Ground. These were all deaths within the Bai family. In order to give these inheritances an explanation, they could not let Lin Tian go. Lin Tian stared at the six of them, expressionless. Then, he looked at Li Guhuang. "You can't kill me, and you can't stop me," he said coldly. "Buzz." As his words fell, a ball of light appeared, and an incomparably domineering aura suddenly spread out, causing the void to distort. Gradually, the treasure light dispersed, transforming into a 3-inch-long round divine blade. Strands of sparkling and translucent light interweaved around it, and the aura it emitted was not the slightest bit inferior to the Bai family's Tao-splitting furnace. "This is flawless Tao weapon. How could he have such a treasure?" The disciples of the Bai family were shocked. One, reading? 1. CC flawless Tao weapon. One had to know that in the second heaven, such a weapon was only owned by the top forces that had been passed down since ancient times. But now a little cultivator in the airborne realm actually displayed a flawless Tao weapon. This was like a magnitude 12 earthquake. Compared to these people, the Bai family's supreme elders, the Leaf family's patriarch, and the Bai family's patriarch were even more shocked, because these people all recognized this Tao weapon. A supreme elder of the Bai family said in a deep voice, "The Yang family's Tao weapon. How could it be in your hands?" Lin Tian's face was expressionless as he stepped forward. Clang! The divine blade hovered above his head, shaking slightly, and the sound of the blade was ear-piercing. The eternal killing formation of the 4 sects intertwined outside his body, and a top-grade flawless Tao weapon floated above his head. The two waves of destructive fluctuations intertwined, and suddenly, a terrifying hurricane swept out, sweeping in all directions. At this moment, with Lin Tian as the center, the space within a radius of dozens of feet had truly turned into a source of destruction, causing many people to be terrified. This scene caused the expressions of the Bai clan's grand elders to change. "Get out of the way," Lin Tianling said coldly. He continued to step forward. The divine blade above his head shook and directly slashed at Li Guhuang. As long as this person was killed, everything would be over. Presumptuous. The faces of the supreme elders of the Bai family darkened. They directly met the attack with the Tao-cracking furnace, blocking Lin Tian's divine blade. The two collided, and with a loud boom, many of the pavilions in the surroundings were shattered into pieces. Then they shattered into pieces. "It seems that you want to turn the Bai family into a wasteland." Lin Tiandao. As soon as he finished speaking, the divine blade shook again, and light filled the sky. He had the eternal killing formation of the 4 sects to protect himself, and the other 3 killing formations were the source of the divine blade's power. He was not afraid of the 6 of them at all. With a bang, the void distorted inch by inch and shattered inch by inch. The Bai family's protective runes were useless. "Stop," one of the supreme elders of the Bai family said. They had flawless Tao soldiers, but they did not expect Lin Tian to have one as well. Now, this was the Bai family's territory. If the two sects' flawless Dao soldiers clashed with each other, the Bai family would definitely be destroyed if the two sects' Dao soldiers were evenly matched. Because, under the power of a flawless top-grade Dao weapon, the clan's protective runes were useless. Lin Tian did not say anything. He stared at Li Guhuang and stepped forward step by step. The killing intent in his eyes was not concealed at all. Clang! The divine blade shook again and slashed at Li Guhuang. He used the eternal killing formation of the three sects to activate this flawless Dao weapon, instantly causing its power to become even more terrifying. The six supreme elders of the Bai family's faces darkened, and they once again used the Dao cracking furnace to meet it. The Dao weapons of the two sects collided. They were far from unleashing their full power, but the fluctuations they emitted were still destructive. In an instant, the surrounding pavilions were shattered again. The immortal plants and strange stones all cracked and turned into dust in the next moment. "Young man, don't go too far," someone from the Bai family said. "I'm going too far? What a joke. You old things forced a 16-year-old girl to marry someone you don't like for the sake of your stupid family's prosperity. Now you're talking to me about going too far. Who's going too far?" He stared at the people of the Bai family and said coldly, "She's your descendant and relative. She's not a tool that you can use." With a bang, the divine blade above his head shook. Light shot into the sky, and the terrifying blade light tore through the void in all directions. Clang! The blade light shook and swept through the surroundings. Under the control of his will, streaks of killing light slashed forward, forcing the six of them to retreat. "Today, no one can stop me," he said coldly. He opened a path with the divine blade and used the eternal killing array to protect himself. He forcibly broke through the six supreme elders of the Bai family and slashed out terrifying blade light, which pressed toward Li Guhuang. This kind of blade light was somewhat terrifying. From afar, it shattered the void, and a huge spatial tunnel appeared. The scene was so terrifying that it was somewhat frightening. The six supreme elders of the Bai family's expressions changed, and they hurriedly used the Dao cracking furnace to meet it. Unfortunately, after a series of collisions, there was still a blade light that could not be stopped. It rushed straight toward Li Guhuang. "Beast!" The Li family leader took out a high-grade immortal artifact halberd and blocked it. With a crack, the halberd shattered, and the Li family leader was directly sent flying while vomiting blood. The power of a flawless Dao weapon was not something that a simple immortal artifact could block. Lin Tian's eyes turned cold, and he stepped forward again. With a clang, the divine blade above his head roared and slashed toward Li Guhuang again. This time, a total of 81 blade lights arrived. Li Guhuang's eyes turned cold, and he quickly retreated. Although he had the Sun Constitution, it was impossible for him to block the Dao weapon. The six supreme elders of the Bai family took action. They took out the Dao cracking furnace and faced it head-on. "Get lost!" Lin Tian shouted. He used the eternal killing array to activate the divine blade above his head. Its power was not weaker than the Dao cracking furnace that the six supreme elders of the Bai family had activated together. The two collided, and there was a loud bang. No one knew how many courtyards of the Bai family were destroyed, and the ground was shattered everywhere. Such a scene frightened many of the ordinary disciples of the Bai family, and they quickly retreated into the distance. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. He was like a killing god that had descended to the mortal world, and he once again pressed toward Li Guhuang. "Li Guhuang, you're known as the number one of your generation. Is this how you hide behind others?" "Trash!" he shouted. He activated the Heavenly One Soul technique, and the Eternal Killing Array became even more terrifying. Then, the Divine Blade was supported by an even stronger killing force, and its Divine Light Sword, almost overwhelming the Dao cracking furnace of the Bai family. Staring at Li Guhuang, he activated the Heavenly One Soul technique even faster. The Divine Blade above his head sent the Dao cracking furnace flying with a bang, and it slashed straight toward Li Guhuang. For a moment, before the blade could really get close, it sent Li Guhuang flying with a bang, and blood fell from the sky. "Die!" Lin Tian's eyes turned cold. He activated the divine blade, causing its speed to become faster. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Li Guhuang. Oh no! Huang. Everyone's expression changed, especially the Li family head. His expression immediately changed. At this moment, a beam of light rushed over from afar, and with a bang, it sent the divine blade that was slashing toward Li Guhuang flying. Young man, you've gone too far. A faint voice sounded. In the depths of the Bai family, an old man in a purple robe walked out. With each step, he disappeared and appeared in front of everyone in an instant. Ancestor. Everyone in the Bai family was overjoyed and bowed in unison. Chapter 454. Elder Ancestor Bai was dressed in a purple robe. His expression was very calm, and the aura on his body was as vast and unfathomable as an abyss. Greetings, Elder Ancestor. Greetings, Senior. Everyone from the Bai family and the Li family bowed in unison. Elder Ancestor Bai's expression did not change. He only nodded slightly as his gaze fell on Lin Tian. Young man, are you going too far? You've destroyed quite a bit of my Bai family's courtyard. The person said. Lin Tian's eyes narrowed slightly. The appearance of Elder Ancestor Bai immediately made him feel as if he was facing an immortal monument. The other party's aura was too vast, like a bottomless black hole. Facing this person, his entire body hurt. However, there was still no fear on his face. You asked for it. He said, how dare you? What kind of tone is that? You're too arrogant. Many people from the Bai family shouted. They felt that Lin Tian was too arrogant. Facing their elder ancestor, he actually dared to face him with such an attitude. It was too disrespectful. Elder Ancestor Bai shook his head. He had already learned many things. He looked at Lin Tian and said, where is my descendant? Do you think I'll tell you? Lin Tian on Dao. Elder Ancestor Bai narrowed his eyes. Young man, you're very bold. I admire you. As he said that, he shook his head and said, however, admiring you doesn't mean that I can forgive your mistakes. You're too arrogant. You can't avoid death. As he said that, Elder Ancestor Bai waved his hand. The Dao cracking furnace in the distance suddenly vibrated on its own and appeared above his head with a whoosh. Boom! Immediately, an extremely frightening aura spread out, spreading far and wide. This fluctuation was many times stronger than the power unleashed by the 6 people of the Bai family. For a moment, the entire world lost its rhythm. Everything fell into a dead silence. Everything was enveloped in this terrifying aura. Lin Tianji felt as if his bones were about to fall apart in this aura. Even with the divine saber and the killing formation protecting his body, it was useless. With regards to this, he couldn't help but sigh. This old ancestor of the Bai clan was too strong. He was definitely a great Dao realm expert, given that the old ancestor of the Bai clan was controlling a flawless Dao weapon with such a cultivation level. He had no way of resisting it all. A droning sound could be heard as Patriarch Bai waved his hand, causing the Dao-cracking furnace to vibrate as it slowly bore down on Lin Tian. The void didn't change much, and it didn't shatter, but the destructive power was extremely terrifying. I advise you not to make a move. Lin Tian suddenly spoke. Facing Elder Ancestor Bai's Dao splitting furnace, he felt as if his body was about to shatter. The killing array outside his body made a sizzling sound, and many of the killing patterns had already been destroyed. However, even so, he was very calm. He used the divine saber that Yang Qi had lent him to protect his body. His eyes were indifferent as he stared at the great Dao realm Grand Elder of the Bai clan. His gaze was so calm that it was surprising. This calmness surprised everyone, including Elder Ancestor Bai. I'm very curious. What gives you the confidence to say such words? Elder Ancestor Bai asked. Staring at Lin Tian, this great Dao realm powerhouse was indeed very puzzled. At this moment, he was controlling a flawless Dao weapon, coupled with his cultivation base. Even if a great Dao realm powerhouse came, he would be able to directly kill him. Although Lin Tian also had a flawless Dao weapon in his hands, his cultivation base was too weak after all. He might be able to block a peak immortal connecting realm powerhouse, but it was definitely impossible for him to block him. Just look at your clansmen, and you'll know, Lin Tian said. Elder Ancestor Bai looked at the disciples of the Bai clan curiously. At the same time, the disciples of the Bai clan were also puzzled. They each checked their own bodies, and soon their expressions changed. My vital essence is condensed. What's going on? I can't sense anything. What happened? All the disciples of the Bai clan cried out in alarm. Some of the big shots of the Bai clan looked inside themselves and then frowned. Nothing had happened to them. My vital essence has disappeared. Grand Elder, what's going on? We can't use our strength anymore. In the Bai clan, voices sounded one after another. Soon, other than the people of the Bai clan who had reached the immortal connecting realm, the expressions of all the clansmen changed. Their vital essence had completely condensed at this moment. Not to mention divine abilities and secret skills. They couldn't even use the simplest martial skills. Elder Ancestor Bai frowned. He raised his hand and grabbed a disciple of the Bai clan. After scanning with his divine consciousness, a large amount of divine light surged out from his right hand and continuously surged into this person's body, helping him circulate his vital essence. However, very soon, this Dao realm powerhouse's frown deepened. With his current cultivation base, he was actually unable to make the vital essence in this person's body circulate again. Grand Elder, what's wrong with us? This person said in fear. For a cultivator, it was simply a terrifying nightmare to suddenly find that they had lost their strength one day. It's such a despicable method again. Everyone be quiet. After a while, your vital essence will naturally recover. A big shot of the Bai clan said. Previously, when Lin Tian destroyed the Bai clan stronghold, he had used a similar method, so this person still had an impression of it. He remembered that at that time, there were others whose vital essence had suddenly condensed. However, not long after, they recovered. Is that true, Elder? It seems like such a thing happened before. That thief used the same method, and some innocent people were harmed. Then, not long after, they could circulate their vital essence again. Then there's no need to worry. Hearing this, many people heaved a sigh of relief, feeling that Lin Tian's actions were really unnecessary. In response, Lin Tianji sneered. Boom! It was also at this moment that not far away, a blazing divine light of the sun rushed up. Li Guhuang's body was completely covered by the light of the sun. A divine sun appeared behind him, followed by a fusang tree and 9 golden crows. The sun ocean and the sea of consciousness propped up together, enveloping him. Then, gradually, the light dissipated. Li Guhuang's aura returned to normal, but his face was much paler. It's not a temporary condensation. Something is slowly eroding my vital essence, Li Guhuang said in a deep voice. As soon as these words were said, the expressions of the people of the Bai clan changed again, because these words were said by the invincible sun body. Lin Tian stared at Li Guhuang, a cold light intertwined in his eyes. The sun origin is indeed powerful to be able to resist such a medicinal effect for such a long time and still be able to force it back, he said coldly. After entering the Bai clan, he had crushed 90 rising adversity pills. These pills were colorless, invisible, and tasteless. They could permanently destroy the vital essence of cultivators below the immortal ascension realm. If the antidote was not found within 7 days, it would be directly destroyed. Even the appearance of a Nirvana realm cultivator could not change the outcome. He did not expect Li Guhuang to be able to resist such a medicinal effect by constantly circulating his vital essence during the battle with him. Moreover, he could even destroy it now. Li Guhuang's expression was cold as he stared at Lin Tian with murderous eyes. What did you do? Elder Ancestor Bai asked. At this moment, Elder Ancestor Bai's expression darkened slightly. The Dao cracking furnace also stabilized. The rising adversity pill is invisible, colorless, and tasteless. It can permanently destroy the vital essence of cultivators below the immortal ascension realm. Staring at Elder Ancestor Bai, Lin Tian said expressionlessly. Now, all cultivators below the immortal ascension realm in your clan have been affected by the rising adversity pill's medicinal effect. If they don't get the antidote I made in 7 days, they will be directly destroyed. What did you say? Instantly, everyone in the Bai clan was shocked. These words were undoubtedly very impactful. Even the Bai clan's great virtue realm elder was shocked. The Bai clan was very powerful. There were many cultivators in the clan, but among them, 99% were cultivators below the immortal ascension realm. Although these people were not strong, they were the foundation of a large clan. This was because the immortal ascension realm cultivators in the future would emerge from these people. Many of these people would become the new pillars of support for the clan in the future. But now, these people's vital essence was about to be completely destroyed before they could truly become strong. This made everyone in the Bai clan fearful. Damn it! No, it can't be like this. Are we going to be destroyed? Some disciples of the Bai clan were terrified. A grand elder of the Bai clan stared at Lin Tian and roared furiously. How can you be so vicious? This move was too vicious. It was simply destroying the foundation of the Bai clan. It was destroying their ancient aristocratic family. Vicious? I'm just trying to protect myself, Lin Tianling said coldly. He knew that the Bai clan was very terrifying. Facing such a large faction, no matter how many methods he prepared, it was impossible for him to defeat the great virtue realm cultivators of this lineage. After all, the difference in cultivation between the two was too great. Therefore, he prepared the rising adversity pill and used all the disciples of the Bai clan below the immortal ascension realm as his chess pieces and trump cards. He planted the rising adversity pill in them and condensed their vital essence. With this, he could threaten the great virtue realm cultivators of the Bai clan. Facing a great virtue realm cultivator, this was the only move he could use. Hand over the antidote, and I'll let you go, the Bai clan's elder said in a deep voice. Lin Tian's expression did not change at all. Set by Ziki free and publicly cancel her engagement with the Li clan's son physique. I'll hand over the antidote after I leave. You're negotiating with me? The Bai clan's elder ancestor's face darkened. What a joke. Do I look like I'm negotiating with you? Do you have the right to negotiate with me now? To put it bluntly, I'm giving you a chance, Lin Tianling said coldly. The Bai clan's elder ancestor's face instantly darkened. He had never expected that Lin Tian would actually prepare such a method. Now, the cultivation lifeline of everyone in the Bai clan below the immortal ascension realm was in the hands of Lin Tian. Although his cultivation base and combat strength were powerful, he really did not dare to make a move against Lin Tian now. If he killed Lin Tian, it would be equivalent to cutting off the cultivation path of everyone in the Bai clan below the immortal ascension realm. His Bai clan would be directly destroyed by 90%. At this moment, another terrifying aura rushed out from the depths of the Bai clan. It flashed and quickly dissipated. Lin Tian was moved from Bai Chio's sea of consciousness. He knew that it should be the direction of the supreme divine territory. Ziki, the head of the Bai clan, could only sigh softly after a while. Lin Tian rose into the air and looked at the depths of the Bai clan. There was a faint door in front of him. He saw a familiar figure step into it and instantly disappear behind the door. That stupid pig, he cursed. It was also at this moment that the Bai clan's elder ancestor rose into the air and stood opposite Lin Tian. Chapter 455. Lin Tian tilted his head and looked at elder ancestor Bai with disdain and sarcasm in his eyes. I've finally seen what kind of person you are. How dare you threaten me with 2 geniuses from your own bloodline? You're really despicable. 1. Reading? 1K for 1? A. N. S. H. U. C. C. What did you say? Elder ancestor Bai's face darkened. Lin Tian was getting out of hand. How dare he use the word despicable to describe him? Lin Tianling snorted. He stepped on the yin and yang hua and headed toward the dark door in the depths of the Bai family. He had promised Bai Chio that he would bring Bai Ziki out, and he would keep his promise. "You'd better pray that I can walk out alive in 7 days," he said coldly. With a swoosh, he was extremely fast. He dodged Elder Ancestor Bai in the blink of an eye and rushed into the Supreme God Extinction Domain. The Dark Door had a strong tearing force. Lin Tian used his divine blade to protect himself, and the tearing force disappeared instantly. After about 10 breaths, Lin Tianji felt his body shake, and the space in front of him changed drastically. He looked around and saw that he was in a desolate and vast land. The grass and trees were withered, and the sky was dark. In this space, Lin Tian felt that everything around him was not real. It was as if everything was an illusion. "This is the Supreme God Extinction Domain?" Lin Tian frowned. He looked around and did not feel any danger. At the same time, he did not see Bai Ziki's figure. "That stupid pig, did he go further? He's quite fast," he thought to himself. He paused for a moment. Without any hesitation, he walked deeper into the boundless land. There was quite a bit of sand on this boundless land. Every time he stepped on the ground, he would leave behind footprints. However, these footprints would quickly disappear. They weren't covered by the sand, but rather, they were slowly disappearing like phantoms. Lin Tian frowned, paused, and walked forward again. Clang! Right at this moment, the clanging sound of a sword rang out, and a sword of light pierced through the void, heading straight for Lin Tian. Reading books WW? W1? K? Shu, CC. The sword light was 3 feet long and about an inch wide. It carried with it a boundless radiance, as if it was about to cut through space. "This is..." Lin Tian Wei was shocked. He had once fought with the thunder god physique by Ziki and had seen this sword ray with his own eyes. It seemed to be one of the basic martial arts techniques of the scripture of God and was not very profound. However, at this time, this sword light was somewhat shocking. It was at least 3 times stronger than when Bai Ziki used it in the sword tomb. It carried a natural feeling which made him very surprised. However, even though he was surprised, he was much stronger than when he was in the sword tomb, so he didn't care about this sword light. He raised his right hand and formed a claw with his 5 fingers. He grabbed the sword ray and crushed it with his bare hands. Clang! Right at this moment, the sword light rose again, and another similar sword light slashed at him. Lin Tian raised his hand and shattered it, but very soon, the same sword light slashed at him again. He shattered more than 10 sword lights in a row, but these sword lights still didn't disperse. He wanted to go directly into the depths, but found that this space was a little strange. It didn't move according to his will at all. No matter where he went, he was still in the same place, and the sword lights kept slashing at him. Clang! 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 Sword lights came one after another. The shape was the same, the power was the same, and even the direction was the same. They kept repeating. Lin Tian Wei frowned slightly. He still couldn't get out of here. He began to dodge the sword lights while secretly thinking. After 10 breaths, he suddenly had a thought. Could it be Wang? He used the divination divine technique, and a similar sword light rushed out from behind him, carrying a similar aura, and slashed forward. With a crack, the sword light that was slashing at him shattered and dissipated into nothingness. Lin Tian stood where he was and waited quietly. However, this time, there were finally no more sword lights slashing at him. Moreover, he found that he could leave this place. After walking for about 10 breaths, the scenery on both sides started to recede. I see. It seems that in here, I can only use the same technique from the divine scripture to fight against it and enter the divine void zone. He muttered to himself. When he thought of this, he couldn't help but feel a little lucky. Fortunately, he had the divination divine technique, which could evolve a trace of the form of many divine powers and martial arts techniques. Otherwise, it would really be troublesome. First look, Book 1, K, A, N, S, H, UCC continued to walk forward. Not long after, dense leg shadows swept toward him. It was also a simple martial arts technique. He dodged slightly, then used the divination divine technique to meet the attacks with the same martial arts technique and shattered them. As he walked forward, he encountered palm shadows, fist lights, and illusory sword lights one after another. In the end, he used the divination divine technique to evolve the same form and shattered all the attacks. It seems that the Bai clan's ancestor left this divine void zone behind by using a special method to imprint all the techniques from the divine scripture into this space. It's to train the descendants who enter the divine void zone. Lin Tian thought to himself. Then he was a little surprised. Back then, when that old man ignited his origin, how high did he reach? At least the enlightenment realm. He shook his head and continued to walk forward. After that, he encountered many attacks one after another. Among these attacks, he didn't recognize most of them. However, he recognized some of them because he had seen the Bai clan use them before. At this moment, the vast sky suddenly cracked open. A huge handprint fell, stirring up a cloud of dust. The giant palm imprint was very shocking, covering all the space within a radius of 5 zhang. Before the palm imprint truly landed, Lin Tian already felt a terrifying pressure. Even his bones began to creak, and the ground beneath his feet seemed to be on the verge of cracking. Is the Bai clan's ancestor trying to train the descendants? Or is he trying to play the descendants to death? Lin Tian was speechless. He recognized this handprint. It was the magic of the divine scripture, the divine void palm. However, the divine void palm at this time was really terrifying. If it came down in a mighty manner, even a cultivator at the peak of the Zephyr realm would be killed in an instant. He didn't have time to think. He took a deep breath and used the divining divine art. A similar handprint appeared and went toward the sky. The killing marks outside his body had long been shattered into pieces, and the divine blade had also been put away by him. This was because after entering the space, the Tao weapon had been strongly suppressed. With his current cultivation, it was difficult for him to activate the Tao weapon. Boom! He used the divine void palm to use the divining divine art and collided with the handprint falling from the sky. With a crack, the divine void palm he used was directly shattered. However, the divine void palm falling from the sky didn't stop at all. It pressed down on him without any decrease in momentum. Staring at this scene, Lin Tian took a deep breath. The vital essence in his body surged. The divining divine art was used to the extreme by him. He supported a similar divine void palm and attacked horizontally. This time, the two handprints collided and were annihilated in the end. Lin Tian frowned. The divine void palm was only a not-so-terrifying magic of the Bai clan, but it already had such terrifying power in this divine realm. He needed to use 80% of his vital essence to resist it. After this, it could be imagined that there would be even more terrifying magic imprints waiting for him in front of him. At that time, it would be difficult for him to move an inch. On the other hand, in reality, it would be more troublesome for him to break into this divine realm than for the other disciples of the Bai clan. After all, he used the divining divine art to evolve a trace of the divine form of the divine scripture. Although the power was not bad, it was still not as good as the people of the Bai clan who had cultivated this technique. To give a simple example, he and Bai Ziqi's battle prowess were on par. The same divine void palm, when used by Bai Ziqi, was definitely many times stronger than when he used the divining divine art. Since the Bai family's progenitor left behind the godly images of the techniques in the Sutra of Godlessness to train the descendants of the Bai family, then the godly image imprints of these techniques should also contain the godly energy circulation paths of the main body's divine abilities. He thought to himself. Thinking of this, a light flashed in his eyes. He stepped into the depths. Not long after, in the dusky sky, a divine figure descended. It had 1,000 hands on its back, and its aura was so powerful that it was somewhat frightening. Lin Tian recognized this magic. It was a core secret magic of the Bai clan, the 1,000 transformations divine hands. Let's try to learn it, he thought to himself. He took a step back. Dark light flowed in his eyes, as he activated the Divine One Soul incantation. The Divine One Soul incantation was a secret magic of the array path, because it was related to the soul. Once this ancient scripture was activated, it could greatly increase his perception. Now that he was facing the divine form of the 1,000 transformations divine hands, he wanted to sense the flow of divine power of this magic. Naturally, he had to increase his perception by as much as he could. Rumble! The divine figure formed by the 1,000 transformations divine hands was more than 30 meters tall. The 1,000 hands behind it stretched out horizontally, each holding a precious weapon. Dong! Clank! Buzz! The 1,000 transformations divine hands moved. Fists, sabers, and palms pressed down together, making different sounds. The power was somewhat frightening. Lin Tian frowned. Silver light flashed in his eyes as he stepped on the yin and yang ho to dodge. This was not the first time he had encountered the Bai family's 1,000 transformations godly hands, so he knew a lot about this magical power. This technique could summon a divine shadow, and when it was cultivated to the peak, there would be 1,000 hands behind the divine shadow, and each of them would produce an illusory precious weapon. Its power was unparalleled, and with a wave of the hand, it could easily destroy a huge mountain. At this moment, he was staring at the divine shadow in this supreme divine domain. There were at least 1,000 precious weapons in the 1,000 hands behind his back. Without a doubt, this was the 1,000 illusionary divine hands. As he dodged, he used the Divine One Soul incantation to sense the divine figure. In the process, he was hit several times. Soon, a full 15 minutes passed. 2 hours later, a ray of bright light flashed in Lin Tian's eyes. His eyes focused. In an instant, a giant figure appeared behind him. The giant figure was 30 meters tall, and its 1,000 hands were intertwined. Its momentum was very strong. Very good. The corners of his mouth curled up. After spending 2 hours and suffering several injuries, he slowly understood the flow of divine power of the 1,000 transformations divine hands. At this time, the 1,000 transformations divine hands behind him was no longer created by the divination divine skill. It was the real Bai clan's secret skill. The true essence in his body surged wildly as he madly activated this divine skill. Gradually, the figure behind him grew to more than 15 meters tall. The divine figure stepped out and struck the sky. Boom, boom, boom. After about an hour of astonishing battle, Lin Tian finally shattered the 1,000 transformations divine hands in the supreme divine domain, panting heavily. In the process, he had consumed a lot of true essence. However, his understanding of the 1,000 transformations divine hands had reached an astonishing level. There were probably few people in the Bai clan who could compare to him. It seems that the supreme divine domain left behind by the Bai clan's ancestor is really amazing for the descendants of the Bai clan to cultivate the Divine Sutra. It can help the clansmen quickly understand the mysteries of the various secret skills in the Divine Sutra. Lin Tian thought to himself. He was an outsider who had never cultivated the 1,000 transformations divine hands before. At this moment, under the divine form of the 1,000 transformations divine hands in the supreme divine domain, he had comprehended this technique to such an extent. It was really shocking. With this, one could imagine that if the Bai clan's clansmen who had cultivated this divine ability were to enter this place, the effect would definitely be better. Of course, it would only be better if the Bai clan's clansmen were on the same level as him in terms of comprehension and combat strength. If the Bai clan's clansmen were weaker than him, the result would probably not be too optimistic. Not to mention comprehending the technique better. In the worst case, they might even die under the divine form of this technique. This was because the divine form of the Divine Sutra's secret skill that the Bai clan's ancestor had created in the supreme divine domain was really terrifying. Boom! Suddenly, a shocking fluctuation came from the depths of the domain. It was mixed with traces of lightning and seemed a little chaotic. Lin Tian tilted his head, and 2 rays of light flashed in his eyes. Bai Ziki, that guy's in trouble? Chapter 456. Lin Tian didn't hesitate. He stepped on the yin and yang hua and rushed toward the thunder. No pop-up window during this process. He encountered a few more obstacles, but they weren't too terrifying. They weren't as strong as the supreme divine palm. Therefore, he didn't deliberately learn any techniques. Instead, he used the divination divine technique to evolve the divine form and rushed through with absolute combat power. Boom! In front of him, purple lightning flashed one after another. Dense clouds of light surrounded him, pressing toward the middle like cotton. In the middle, Baiziki was surrounded by thunderclouds. He summoned a similar technique, but he couldn't walk out in a short time. TSK, you're in a mess, Lin Tian said. He remembered that the light clouds were a secret technique of the Bai family. It seemed to be called void cloud fall, which had the power to distort space. At this moment, seeing how Baiziki had fallen into the divine image imprint of such a divine ability, the corners of his lips couldn't help but curl up slightly. He felt like laughing. "It's you." Baiziki turned around and was shocked. "It's me, Lin Tian Dao." He stepped forward and used the divination divine technique to evolve the same light clouds. A passage was formed, and he walked forward. The pressure around Baiziki was reduced a lot, and lightning flashed around him. "Where's my sister?" Staring at Lin Tian, Baiziki's eyes were a little unfriendly. He risked his life to bring his sister out of the family and handed her to Lin Tian. Now that Lin Tian was here, he felt a little uneasy, worried that his sister had returned. As if knowing what he was thinking, Lin Tian shook his head. "Don't worry, she didn't return to the Bai family. She's in a very safe place," he said. Seeing Lin Tian's calm expression, Baiziki didn't say anything, but his face was very gloomy. "You should stay by her side." Baiziki wasn't stupid. He knew very well why Lin Tian was here, but he wasn't happy. He came here alone, not because his family forced him to, but because he wanted to take on everything for his sister. When she was young, Bai Qiu was very obedient, very sensible, and very obedient. However, ever since the family arranged that marriage, Bai Qiu's personality changed, and she became rebellious. It was because of this that although he was very strict with Bai Qiu, he had always pampered and spoiled her. He would never let Bai Qiu suffer any grievances outside of marriage. A few months ago, Bai Qiu had left his family. After finding traces of him, he went to Wuji Gate with his clansmen and met with Lin Tian. At that time, although Bai Qiu and Lin Tian had a good relationship, he didn't care much about it. Eventually, Bai Qiu left for the sea. When he returned, he saw her sad expression in her room and realized that there was someone else in her heart. She was suppressing it for the sake of her clan. It was also at that time that he, the holy son of the Bai clan, finally developed a strong dissatisfaction with the clan and risked his life to take Bai Qiu away. "She shouldn't know you. Otherwise, she would have felt better." Staring at Lin Tian, Baiziki's face was cold. For Lin Tian, his younger sister had shed too many tears. She had the extreme Yin King body, a heaven's pride of the second heaven. Ever since she was a child, even when she was forced to marry, she had never shed a tear. She was just unhappy. However, ever since she met Lin Tian, her tears had never stopped. Every time he thought of this, Baiziki had the urge to grab Lin Tian out and give him a good beating. His heart was filled with anger. Then, if it weren't for me, would you have watched her marry someone with the Solar King body? Lin Tian wasn't happy either. He stared at Baiziki, and with a backhand slap, he shattered the light cloud that was pressing towards him. His eyes were full of hostility. Bai Qiu is usually very naughty and willful. Sometimes, she would act coquettishly and ask him to do things that he didn't want to do. However, he wasn't unhappy. After entering the second heaven, he was alone. With such a woman by his side, he was very happy. Moreover, no matter what, she always stood by his side. Even when he was enemies with the Bai family, she still stood by his side. This was enough to move him. Later, when he learned that the girl was forced to marry by her family, he felt a trace of heartache and anger. Therefore, he came to the Bai family. Even if he had to destroy 90% of the Bai family, He wanted to make this family feel a trace of her pain, even if it was only a trace. Baiziki stared at Lin Tian, clenching his fists, and flames of anger appeared in his eyes. The two men just stared at each other like that. Rumble? In the sky, light clouds intertwined, pressing down inch by inch from all directions. Baiziki sighed. He activated the chaotic void cloud secret technique, and lightning flashed vigorously. You shouldn't have come here. As the holy son of the Bai family, Baiziki knew very well how terrifying the supreme divine domain was. Even though he had cultivated the supreme divine sutra to a very high level and was stronger than many immortal realm powerhouses in the family, he still didn't have the confidence to pass through this supreme divine domain. As for Lin Tian, as an outsider, it would be even more difficult for him to survive in this supreme divine domain. What's the big deal? At most, we will retreat and not go deeper. Lin Tian on Dao. Retreat? Is there a way out? Baiziki was expressionless. Lin Tian narrowed his eyes and looked back. He was slightly shocked. He remembered the way he came, but when he looked back, the path had disappeared. Baiziki said, once you enter the godless extinction domain, all the paths you pass through will eventually disappear. Once you enter this space, you can only move forward. There's no way back, and there's no possibility of staying in the same spot. This is because space is constantly changing. You can treat this as a real illusion. If you want to live, you have to completely break through this space. Lin Tian was speechless. He said, did the ancestor of the Bai family really leave this space to train the descendants of the Bai family and not to play you to death? Baiziki didn't say anything. He glanced at Lin Tian and looked at the sky. Boom! The sky was shattering, and more light clouds pressed down. This was the Bai family's chaotic void cloud descent. This divine domain was quite powerful. It could create light clouds and even turn the void into a swamp. Once one fell into it, it would be difficult to struggle out. Don't worry. At the crucial moment, the old ancestor of the Bai family will definitely save us. The lifeline of your family is still in my hands. Lin Tian on Dao. Baiziki glanced at Lin Tian expressionlessly and said, although I don't know what you have done, I have to disappoint you. Just now, a hint of abnormality appeared in this space, and it has been cut off from the outside world. Even ordinary Great Dao Realm experts won't be able to interfere with the operation of this space. You should understand what I mean. Baiziki was a direct descendant of the Bai family, and he also had the Thunder God physique. His perception of this space was stronger than that of any other clansman. Just now, not long after he entered this space, he suddenly felt that this space had closed off, rejecting everything from the outside world. Originally, the old ancestor of the Bai family could open the supreme divine domain and interfere with the internal operation. After all, the old ancestor of this generation of the Bai family was at the Great Dao realm. However, just a moment ago, he sensed that this space had been completely sealed off. Nothing in the outside world seemed to be able to interfere with the operation of this space. In other words, even though Elder Ancestor Bai was at the Great Dao realm and could normally enter this space, it was impossible for him to do so now. The two of them only had two paths now. The first was to barge in recklessly. The second was to die in here. Lin Tian opened his mouth and wanted to curse. He barged in directly because he thought that since he controlled the lifeline of 90% of the Bai family's cultivators with the rising adversity pill, the old ancestor of the Bai family would definitely pull him out at the crucial moment. He had never been worried about his own safety. However, now, Baiziki's words made him speechless. Before entering the supreme divine domain, everything was under his control. But now, this control suddenly did not work. This made him want to roll his eyes. That's why I said that you shouldn't have come in. If you die, what will happen to my sister? Baiziki said, staring at Lin Tian. He was very displeased. I'm not the only man in the world. You can do whatever you want. Lin Tian was also displeased. He and Baiziki blocked the void cloud fall while staring at each other with hostile expressions, as if they wanted to fight. Baiziki snorted coldly. The lightning around his body flickered and became even more intense. Lin Tian used the divination divine technique to simulate the void cloud fall. His true origin surged wildly, forcing the light clouds and the supreme divine domain to retreat. Right now, the old ancestor of your Bai family is probably thousands of times more anxious than us. He suddenly laughed coldly. In fact, his words were not wrong. At this moment, outside the supreme divine domain, the Bai family's great Dao realm powerhouse was pacing around anxiously. His forehead was full of cold sweat. Damn it, how could this be? This shouldn't be. This person's face was ashen. Before Lin Tian rushed into the supreme divine domain, the old ancestor of the Bai family did not pay much attention. However, when Lin Tian rushed into the supreme divine domain, his expression suddenly changed. This was because, as powerful as he was actually unable to open the supreme divine domain. He could not sense what was happening inside. This caused this powerful existence of the second heaven of the great Tao to be involuntarily shocked, and a chill ran down his spine. The supreme divine domain was very dangerous. Everyone in the Bai family knew that. The more powerful one was, the more they knew how terrifying it was inside. In the beginning, they let Bai Ziki enter because they wanted to force Bai Ziki to return to the clan. Even if Bai Ziki did not return, when Bai Ziki was in danger, the old ancestor of the Bai family would forcefully pull Bai Ziki out of the supreme divine domain. After all, this was the clan's Thunder God King physique, the Bai family's sacred son. How could the Bai family allow Bai Ziki to come to any harm? However, when Lin Tian rushed into the supreme divine domain, there was a huge change in the supreme divine domain. As a great Dao realm existence and the current strongest person in the Bai family, he was actually unable to interfere with the operation of the supreme divine domain. This caused him to be filled with panic. One had to know that now, the Thunder God physique of his lineage was inside, and Lin Tian controlled 90% of the cultivation lifelines of the cultivators in the clan. If either of them were harmed, the Bai family would suffer an unprecedentedly huge blow. Damn it! The old ancestor of the Bai family roared in a low voice. He released his divine consciousness and constantly searched the supreme divine domain. The supreme divine domain, boom! In the sky, the light clouds kept pressing down, closing in from all directions and surrounding Lin Tian and Bai Ziki. This light cloud was a little terrifying, causing the two of them to feel a huge pressure and their bodies to hurt. White pig, you attack the left, I'll attack the right. Let's work together to break it. Lin Tian on Dao. P.S. I wish all the sisters a happy Goddess Day and happy every day. After that, Rolling Dragon went to have lunch. Chapter 457. Genius 1 Second Remember, providing you with interesting novels to read. Lin Tian was a little speechless. He always felt that the Bai family's ancestor was too deceitful. He actually set up such a supreme divine territory. This was not to train the descendants, but to deceive them. If one entered this place without the cultivation of the peak of the immortal realm, there was basically no way to survive. Inside, the divine powers that had been evolved were really terrifying to the extreme. Boom! Boom! The two of them used their methods at the same time. Bai Ziki supported the real void cloud fall, while Lin Tian used the divination divine art to activate a trace of the divine form of void cloud fall. At the same time, they attacked in all directions. After about an hour, the two of them worked together and finally completely annihilated the void cloud fall divine power that the Bai family's ancestor had evolved in this space. Your ancestor is too deceitful. He definitely wants to play you to death. Lin Tian said. He was really speechless. One had to know that they were only facing the void cloud fall divine power, but the two of them had to work together to resist it. If they walked to the end, how much pressure would there be? Just thinking about it made him feel a chill down his spine. Bai Ziki frowned slightly and looked at Lin Tian. He said, "You went to the Forsaken Heaven realm, Divine Roar Palace, and other kings' territories, learned the supreme divine palm, and now void cloudfall. What's going on? I asked Bai Chio, but she didn't teach you the Bai family's divine powers. I believe that she wouldn't lie to me about this. She definitely wouldn't teach you the secret techniques of the divine scripture. I'm a genius. I can learn any technique with a glance. Lin Tian on Dao. Bai Ziki said coldly, do you think I'm as stupid as my sister and will believe you? You can use your talent to explain why you learned other techniques, but can you learn the king's territory with talent? Bai Ziki's face was filled with indifference as he stared at Lin Tian. Suddenly, his eyes focused. I heard that the Limitless Immortal School has a Heaven's Divination divine art that is said to be able to evolve everything in the world, and it's called the Battle Saint Technique. She went to Wuji Gate because she wanted to get this secret technique. She wanted to use it as a condition to exchange with her family so that her family could change the marriage alliance. Which secret technique did you learn? Lin Tian opened his mouth, somewhat speechless. He secretly thought that Bai Ziki's spiritual perception was indeed somewhat frightening. He had guessed it in an instant. Seeing that Lin Tian didn't say anything, Bai Ziki understood. As expected, he glanced at Lin Tianyi, but didn't say anything. After a little tidying up, he walked towards the depths of the supreme divine region. As of now, the only path they could take was to charge through the godless extinction domain. As for the other path, the path of death, neither he nor Lin Tian wanted to step on it. The two of them continued forward. Not long after, the void shattered again, and more divine abilities descended. Buzz! This time, the sky was filled with patterns, as if they were formation patterns. They were densely packed, extremely shocking. What technique is this? Lin Tian was surprised. He had never seen such a secret technique before. One of the core secret techniques of the supreme divine scripture, the divine shattering pattern. It can cut off the physical body and directly obliterate the cultivator's divine soul. Bai Ziki explained simply. As soon as he finished speaking, his body shook. Strands of similar patterns spread out from his body and interweaved in the surroundings, producing a dazzling light. Core divine ability? I've seen the great celestial king arcane technique she used. What rank does it rank in your Bai family's supreme divine scripture? Lin Tian asked. Previously, in the sea area, Bai Chio had used the great celestial king arcane technique to attack the desolate demon physique. He still had some impression of it. It was also one of the core secret techniques of the Bai family's supreme divine scripture. It was very terrifying. Bai Ziki glanced at Lin Tianyi and didn't say anything. I'm just asking. I'm not asking you to teach me. Lin Tian was displeased. Bai Ziki paused and said expressionlessly, the Bai family has 9 core secret techniques and 3 profound meanings. The Great Celestial King Arcane Technique is the 3rd core divine ability, and the Divine Shattering Pattern is the 4th core divine ability. Then there are the 1,000 illusory divine hands, the Peerless Divine Palm, and so on. As for the last 3 profound divine abilities, no one in the Supreme Divine Realm has ever been able to pass them. Lin Tian was speechless. According to what you said, aren't the 2 of us dead meat? I don't know. Bai Ziki's expression didn't change. Lin Tian didn't know what to say, but he was more and more certain that the ancestor of the Bai family definitely wanted to play the descendants to death. Looking at the sky, he suddenly trembled and said in a serious voice, "It's coming." In the sky, densely packed patterns fell down, covering almost every inch of space, making it difficult to guard against. Buzz! He operated the Heaven's Derivation Divine Technique, his hands moving about. Suddenly, similar patterns appeared one after another, facing upwards. Bai Ziki glanced over and didn't say anything. The divine shattering pattern outside his body became stronger and denser. Next, it's mainly up to you. The divine shattering pattern that I evolved is still far from being as strong as yours. Lin Tian said. Since Bai Ziki had already guessed that he had mastered the divine divination divine technique, there was no need for him to hide it. The other party was not a sinister person. In the situation where he had already guessed, if he still hid it, it would seem a little inferior. He stared at the patterns in the sky and used the divine shattering pattern that was evolved by the divine divination divine technique to meet the attack. At the same time, silver light flashed in his eyes. He suddenly used the heavenly one soul incantation and seriously comprehended the divine power of this divine ability. Whoosh! A cool breeze blew, sweeping by from time to time. The divine shattering pattern did not cause any terrifying tremors, but Lin Tian felt a terrifying pressure. It was as if his soul was being drawn out and obliterated by an invisible force. He remembered what Bai Ziki said. He knew that this divine ability could obliterate the soul and spirit of the physical body. He took a deep breath and concentrated his essence, energy, and spirit. His consciousness covered his body, and his soul and flesh shell strengthened. He used the divine shattering pattern evolved by the divine divination divine technique to meet the attack in the sky. Buzz! The God-shattering rune he conjured clashed with the God-shattering rune in the divine domain. The difference between the two was obvious. The God-shattering rune he conjured was instantly crushed. The God-shattering rune in the divine domain pressed down on him in a terrifying manner. With a buzz, not far away, another light pattern pressed down. Bai Ziki made a move and used the divine shattering pattern to block it. Lin Tian nodded at Bai Ziki. He used the divine divination divine technique and activated the divine shattering pattern again. His eyes flickered with silver light. The divine one soul incantation circulated faster, increasing his perception. After that, he used the divine divination divine technique to activate the divine shattering pattern. At the same time, he used his hands to move, testing the true flow of the divine shattering pattern in his body. Because this divine ability was very complicated, it was difficult for him to learn it in a short time. Buzz! 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 Bai Ziki activated the divine shattering pattern to fight against the divine shattering pattern in the supreme divine domain. He could shatter many of them, but it was still difficult to destroy them all at the same time. As more and more divine shattering patterns fell from the sky, the pressure on Bai Ziki also increased. He could not help but frown. This was not because Bai Ziki was not strong. On the contrary, Bai Ziki was very strong. The reason why he was struggling at this time was because he alone bore at least 90% of the pressure. Soon, another 2 hours passed. Enough, Lin Tian suddenly said. With a buzz, his body shook. Lines of patterns flowed out, exuding an aura that was far stronger than before. Bai Ziki's expression froze. 2 rays of light flashed in his eyes. "You've learned it," he said in a deep voice. As one of the Bai family's holy princes with the lightning god physique, Bai Ziki naturally knew the purpose of the paramount divine domain's existence. At this moment, seeing that the divine fragment rune Lin Tian displayed was clearly different from before, and there was a qualitative difference in its momentum, Bai Ziki knew that this was no longer the divine fragment rune Lin Tian created using the divination divine art, but the true Bai family's divine fragment rune secret art. "I'm a genius," Lin Tian said with a smile. After more than 2 hours, through the collision with the divine shattering pattern, he finally mastered this technique. Bai Ziki said coldly, "After you get out, forget about it." "Understood." Lin Tian nodded and grinned. Bai Ziki said that because he didn't care that he had learned the Bai family's secret technique. The so-called "after you get out, forget about it" was actually to not let the Bai family know about it. Bai Ziki glanced at him coldly. His imperial physique shook, and an even stronger divine shattering pattern surged out. The corner of Lin Tian's mouth curled up. His true ether rolled out, and the divine shattering pattern blasted out. Swish! 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 A crisp sound was heard. One could see the divine shattering pattern falling from the sky, shattering bit by bit. Just now, Bai Ziki was supporting it alone. Although Lin Tian had evolved a trace of the divine shattering pattern with the divine divination divine technique, it was only a trace after all, and the effect was not great. Now it was different. Lin Tian had comprehended the true divine shattering pattern, and its power was much stronger than the divine divination divine technique. The situation suddenly changed dramatically. Whoa! The divine patterns flickered. and the divine shattering pattern descending from the sky retreated bit by bit. The two of them were both powerful young supreme beings. Now that they were working together, their might could not be said to be weak. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had used the true divine shattering pattern together, and finally all the divine shattering pattern descending from the sky were shattered. Lin Tian exhaled a shaky breath. It's finally over. Baiziki did not say anything and continued to walk forward. Lin Tian shrugged and followed him unhurriedly. Not long after, the scene on both sides suddenly changed greatly. The earth trembled, and the layer of soil cracked open. A divine figure stood up. The divine figure was a full 300 feet tall. Its left hand was raised vertically, and its right hand slowly pressed down. With a boom, the surrounding sand and pebbles were instantly sent flying. The scene was frightening and frightening. A great celestial king arcane technique. Lin Tian couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. He felt as if all the bones in his body were aching. He turned to look at Baiziki and said, "White pighead, teach me the mental mantra of this technique." "Impossible." Baiziki refused. "In any case, I can learn it through this divine figure in the future. Can't you just teach it to me directly? Why waste time? It's two different things." Baiziki was expressionless. He was unwilling to teach it directly to Lin Tian. Lin Tian was speechless. He could only use the divination divine technique to derive the great celestial king arcane technique, and then use the heavenly one soul incantation to comprehend this divine technique. Just like that, another 6 hours passed very quickly. When he and Baiziki were both in a very sorry state, he finally managed to control this secret technique of the Bai clan. He supported the great celestial king arcane technique's essence and blasted it forward. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.